once in the last 2 years, can Tommy Häkkinen make it a hat-trick here on the Belgian gravel?
This is my town!
Welcome to the FIA World Rallycross Championship presented by Monster Energy. Over the last week, the teams have travelled to Belgium for round 3 of the series. This is the 3rd season World RX has visited the Mettet circuit, which has proved to be a welcome addition to the RX calendar. Last round in Hockenheim, we saw some of the most exciting motor racing on the planet, but semi-final 2 was out of this world. It was like reading a superhero comic. Meet the Super 6.
It was a crazy race.
It was a fight.
Because everything happened, didn't it?
I had a very good start. I was very quick on the green light, and I had a very good takeoff from the start and a good traction, and then into the first corner. I got a hit from rear.
I was planning to go for second place, stay behind Johan, and I went behind him, and good space. And then Bamanis came on the side and pushed me in, and then I went up on his wheel.
And then we had small contact with Petter, and then just he touched a little bit Kristoffersson and broke his rear tire, so it was started to smoke a lot already then.
So I knew pretty immediately that this might be something problem during the race.
But once I got into the second and third corner, I was able to go around the outside, sort of fight for position. Although I did go a little too wide there. Did not want to go that wide, but you know, that's sort of the kind of risks that you take.
Petter took really wide line on after the straight, but unfortunately Kristoffersson was really fast with that car, so I just see I have space to be in. I did it, so I overtook Petter in the main track, so I was second. Then again, it was on the first hairpin, a lot of action. At one moment I was again fourth, and then I was able to be again second.
I was fifth. I take it easy now, because if I start to fight with the number 4 guy, we will lose so much to the first guys. But unfortunately, my drive shaft broke on I think it was the second or third lap.
Unfortunately, he went really wide, and I just hit him. And in that moment my intercooler pipe broke down, and no turbo anymore, so it was not able to continue.
To being able to get that car around the track at the speed he was going with 3 tyres is phenomenal, really. And then Petter went past me down the straight, which I felt was kind of rude, because I couldn't do anything about it, and he just overtook me and I was helpless. And that kind of gave me a little bit of determination. Yeah, I was going past Petter whether he liked it or not.
It was close racing, and by the end of the day, good points, and that's good.
It was inevitable, you know. We've got 4 tyres, you can't. But kind of when it opened up, it was rude not to. But yeah, he did a great job, to be honest.
I think it's one of the most epic races ever I have done.
It was fun, and everybody's changed position all the time, so it was fun.
A brilliant race that's getting so much coverage for the team and everything else is great, and to be the person that won it as well, it's brilliant.
It really was like watching a Hollywood blockbuster, and the action continued into the final, with Robin Larsson rolling his Audi and heroically finishing the race. The top step, though, was reserved for Mattias Ekström, who made a stunning move on teammate Tommy Häkkinen to take the lead and the win in very impressive style.
I think we had a small advantage of having been testing there end of last year, and also did the test there this year. And you know, when you start the weekend on the right foot, it's easy to keep the momentum, and already from free practice we had good cars, good pace, and found the rhythm straight away. What I love with rallycross is even you're sometimes the fastest, it's not guarantee you a win. But one thing is for sure, I know Ford, Petter, the Hansens, and they are not going to give up.
At the top of the table, Ekström and Solberg are tied on 48 points after 2 rounds, while Sebastian Loeb continues to make steady progress as the leading new boy in the championship. But Tommy Häkkinen will be looking to finish one better this round, following his 3rd place in Portugal and 2nd in Hockenheim. With a 100% record here in Belgium for the Finn, it may well be 3 in a row.
We had a good team behind. I think that's one of the reasons. And you know, we had a good 2 drivers on the team, so Mattias is a super fast driver, and I tried to for sure following him and doing good as possible for the team. and that's the reason why we're having really good gap for the other teams right now. I feel really comfortable in the team. All the guys, they trust me and what I'm doing, and when I have a good teammate, Matthias, on side of me, it's always a great feeling. And now we just focus that we're getting more points, and hopefully end of the season we're standing in the middle.
EKS lead the team's championship by an impressive margin, but it's only been 2 rounds, and the chasing teams will be working flat out to close the performance gap.
We are driving with the Seat this year, absolutely new car, new team, new people around me, and it wasn't easy at the beginning, but now I'm getting there, and like if we are looking back to the Portugal race, it was I can say disaster, you know, like for me like a driver, and in Hockenheim we showed some speed already, and I can feel that we are growing, and the car have potential, and the boys are really motivated to work and to get a result.
For anybody new to World Rallycross, this is how the championship works. Everybody takes part in 4 timed qualifying sessions. The top 12 qualify for the 2 semi-finals. The top 3 from each semi go through to the final for a chance to win the event. Drivers score championship points at all stages of the competition. It's an epic battle from start to finish in World RX. Here's the track preview presented by Ion Cameras. Back to Belgium for the 3rd year in a row. Circuit length here 1,149 metres, 61% asphalt and 39% dirt. Anti-clockwise direction, and of course it's got that unique start which faces the opposite direction to the normal lap. We ride on board with Janis Baumanis down to the very tricky narrow turn 1. You drop off a crest onto dirt, set the car up for the curves on the right hand side, cross the tarmac track, and then a dirt chicane. Nice high curves left and right of the track, and into a hairpin. On the handbrake here, then you can either take a wide sweeping line or a tight line like Baumanis has, trying to get the power down for the back straight. On the brakes at the end of the straight and into the left-hander, avoiding the curves on the right, which we've seen of damaged suspension before. Tight on the left, off camber, then tight on the right, and then here's the Joker lap split. So over the tar, onto dirt, the Joker goes wide, and that's the lap that Baumanis takes. It's important here to get the car straight really early. He hops up over the curves, pretty much the perfect line, and then pulling gears as the Joker merges from the left. It's a race to the finish line. Coming up, we've got highlights of the action from qualifying 1 and 2, the best of the action from qualifying 3, the future stars of Rallycross are back in action in the RX Lights final. It's crunch time in Q4. Who will make the semi-final cut? We've got the World RX Supercar semi-finals live and the World RX Supercar final live. The very first race of Q1 immediately reminded everyone why turn 1 in Belgium can be so tricky. Timothy Mazjanov somehow hung on to his very sideways supercar around the outside, while Matthias Ekstrom avoided the carnage, continuing his Hockenheim form and setting a very fast opening time. Double Belgian winner Toppie Hakenen's weekend didn't get off to such a good start. He stalled on the line and left 2 VWs and 2 Fords to fight for honours. The fight didn't last long though, when both Hoonigan Racing Division machines ground to a halt on the same lap. Christopherson hunted his teammate Markland through the race, and the photo finish went Johan's way. Wildcard entrant and home favourite Francois Duval got the whole shot in his first race, but behind him world champion Solberg was on a mission and pushing him hard. When Solberg eventually jokered, it was a flamboyant but incredibly accurate lap, and enough to catapult him out front for the win. In the final race of Q1, Sebastian Loeb got squeezed on the way into the first corner, but still came out in front. Behind him, Davy Genet clipped the tyres, and then Larsen made a mistake on the gravel section, causing Hansen to take evasive action. They both jokered, leaving Timmy Hansen close behind and desperate to pass. Even tried to go around the outside on the straight. Untroubled out front, WRC legend Lowe proved he's learning the trade of World RX, taking the fastest time in Q1, his first ever qualification session win. Toby Hakkinen got his second bad start of the weekend in Q2, but it was worse news for Ken Block, who scored another DNF. Teammates Ericsson and Gronholm touched off the line in race 2, while Liam Doran broke a drive shaft after contact with the wall in the turn 1 bundle. It was Timmy Hansen's turn to have a clear track, and he set the fastest time of the day so far. Hansen wasn't fastest for long though. Double European Supercar champion Timur Timizyanov proved he still has the pace to run at the front and smashed the top time by nearly 2.5 seconds. For most of the final race of Q2, Sebastian Loeb looked set to topple the Russian's time and take the overnight TQ. But an uncharacteristic mistake on the last lap joker saw the Frenchman drop down the order, with four-man Ekstrom going just 0.2 faster than Timizyanov to take Q2 and his third overnight TQ in a row.
In Portugal, I learned the lesson that even if you're the fastest, you still don't win. So we have to keep our feet on the ground, keep working as hard as we can, and then be smart about it and try to get as many points as possible with us.
Ekstrom top of the standings then at day 1 from Loeb, Timizyanov, Kristoffersen, Solberg, Baumanis, Timizyanov's teammate in the top 6 as well. Markland and Timmy Hansen. Duval is in with Nitish, Ericsson and Janay. At the minute, double winner Hakkinen is out.
Qualifying 1 and 2, very good for World RX Team Austria. Yannis, the step up to supercars is proving very successful for you, especially in Q1 and Q2 here.
Yeah, definitely. It's totally different than Super 1600, where I won 2 years from 2014 and 15, but with driving in this track with the supercar, it's totally different. It's much fun. I think there is approximately 170 kilometers per hour top speed, and you go in the chicane, so its feeling is amazing, and the car handles very well. So I would thanks for the team that they have set up so good car, and I'm able to push it. So that's a good point.
And in Q1 and Q2, talk us briefly through what happened. Do you find yourself in a good position going into Q3?
Yeah, the start is not the best ones, but still I'm able to do very good job in the track. So we'll do just small adjustments for the car for Q3, and I know it will be better.
You're currently 6th position. How do you maintain that consistency into Q3, Q4 and get into the semis and final?
Yeah, now I will watch Timur's onboard because he went very good on Q2. So I will just fix that 1 point what I need to change, and I think I will find those 0.2 seconds on the track. So looking forward for it.
Okay, good luck. Thank you very much. Well, he just spoke there about Timur. Let's see if we can grab a quick word with Timur Timizyanov. Sorry to interrupt, fellas. Timur, a great day today. You found some speed. In fact, you were very quick in Q2.
Yeah, Q1 was a little bit starting on the back of the row. We have with Matthias, we have the start in the number 1 in the row. After that, I have a good time, but still I can get a good start in the qualifying 2. Coming on the second time, but I do some small mistakes, and I think I lose the top first time. That was my luck, and I'm so happy that I come back in the grid, I come back in the fight, and now I can show my response of my car and myself. That was really good.
It took a little bit of time for you to get used to this car. It's great to see you back up to speed again. How do you continue this, get faster, and start winning?
Yeah, the practice was not good, but qualifying is starting better, and I'm really happy inside of the car. I'm just driving, sit down and relaxing, and I'm sweating there. It's like I'm coming out, and that was brilliant. I was surprised that I have the best lap time of the day, and in the end, like second time, that was really good.
So hopefully we'll see you in the semis and maybe the finals. Is that the goal, briefly?
We're crossing the fingers for that. Hopefully it will happen.
Okay.
See you.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
Here are the standings ahead of Q3 starting. Matthias Ekstrom tops the table from Loeb, Timizyanov, Kristoffersen, Petter, Solberg, Baumanis, Markland and Hansen. The all-important cut-off point, of course, is 12th place. Janay is just in, Larson just out. My name's Andrew Coley. Alongside me in the commentary box this weekend is Andrew Jordan. And reporting from the paddock is, of course, Neil Cole. On to the early races of Q3. It was Rennie Munich in the Ibiza who got the best start in this one. At the back, Ken Block continued to have a torrid weekend, spinning the Focus, but it was obviously an issue with the car as later on in the race the same thing occurred. So continuing to develop the car, tough weekend for him. Liam Doran around the outside of the Mini on the tricky Joker lap, very nicely done there, but not as nicely done on this occasion as Gronholm, who went on to take the checkered flag from Munich and Doran. Race 2 saw an outstanding piece of car control from Davy Genet all the way around the outside. A little tap from Toppy Hakkinen, but Genet hung on down the hill. Duval, meanwhile, sneaking up the inside of Toppy Hakkinen on the way down to turn 2. This was Hakkinen being chased by Backrud. Backrud with a spin in the dust, caught the tyres on the inside, cost him some time. Out front, Genet managed to hold off local driver Duval for the race win. Q3, race 3. Janis Balmanis on the inside, Sebastian Loeb next to him, Larson in the middle, Markland and Kevin Eriksson. Start temperature, we've been told, on the tarmac is 19 degrees C, the air temperature just 13, so it's a fairly chilly morning here, but the grip levels on the start are high. Matthias Ekström told us that on day 1. Ready to race? Really long hold for these guys. Finally, they're away. That must be pretty much the maximum hold the start system allows. Great start by Loeb. All the way around the outside. Eriksson's going to try and make the pass, but Loeb's going to come over the crest in first place. Larson up the inside of Eriksson. Eriksson could get dumped down here because Balmanis is inside him, and Eriksson drops into 4th place, and the cars are all now in a line.
Really long hold. We saw a couple of those yesterday. The guys have got them fully loaded up on the clutch, foot flat on the throttle with the anti-lag, so the cars are getting a really hard time, but that played exactly into Sebastian Loeb's hands there. You could see Balmanis didn't get the best of reaction, I would think, because of that long hold. So we'll see what Sebastian Loeb's got now, won't we?
It's the first time, of course, use in the starter system. You were aware of the old one, and we know that there were certain places where the starter would maybe press the button at the same time. It was a manual start. Now we've got a computer start. It's just fairer, isn't it?
Absolutely. You know, it takes the chance of anyone possibly trying to guess the lights out of it, you know, because it's all automated, so you're not going to know when it's going. There's no routine. It will never get into any sort of rhythm. But Sebastian Loeb this weekend has looked really smooth, neat and tidy. Having watched the first couple of events on the TV, he just looks like he's gone about his work in a quiet way. You know, he's a huge mega star in this paddock, but it's a new discipline to him. Yeah, he's done one-off events in the past, but this is a new discipline for him.
Oh, in the background, big hit for Eriksson in the background. Yeah, so Eriksson maybe took the curb very hard. The bonnet's intact, so that's where we saw last year Alex Danielson popped a couple of dampers up through the bonnet, and we saw Liam Doran do it in morning warm-up yesterday, practice. Larson in behind as Eriksson comes through. Balmanis slots in behind him. And it's Larson, Balmanis and Markland have all jokered.
So Larson's going to be getting held up a little bit. You know, the race is between Larson and Loeb. Obviously, Larson's jokered, Loeb hasn't. So we've got a warning flag for Larson. You'll see the track markers around the circuit lining. There's some tyres on the curves and then some markers. So you get one warning. The second time you get a 5-second penalty.
So be very, very keen not to get that. If these spotters are looking at the timing screen, then they will tell him you've had a warning, so he mustn't clip again. Loeb, completely different approach. Yesterday, Loeb came in there super sideways and wide. Very last-minute decision. Kevin Eriksson has released Larson, but Kevin will have lost time there. That seemed very odd.
I'm not sure why they've done that, whether they thought it was the last lap, because you did think, you know, he's got one more lap to take it. That was a really late call, but Sebastian looked quite cautious and steady into there. He still carried good speed, but he took the risk out that he had yesterday. He carried huge speed in, got into the thick dirt, and that really lost him the opportunity of sitting top overall at Saturday evening.
It did indeed. He won Q1. That's the first time he's won a qualification session in World RX. Q2 is on for it literally until the last lap and just ran wide. So keep your eyes peeled for the different approaches to the Joker lap. Some people are in sideways and some of them are braking tight. Most important is to get that curb on the inside. Loeb did that this time, and that's going to allow him to take the checker flag by quite some margin. The 9-time World Rally Champion over the line. Larson drops back. Maybe a problem there. Something happened in the last corner. Balmanis gets past. Eriksson coming through. And that is a very quick time by Loeb, 2:44.799. Just a couple of tenths off Ekström's quickest time yesterday. Crowd enjoying that one. They're all fairly well wrapped up. Sebastian Loeb with the win too, 44.799. That is a quick time. Balmanis second, getting Larson on the last corner. Kevin Eriksson and Anton Markland. Loeb goes top, but you can see Genet and Duval were quick enough to remain in second and third. We've got one race left in Q3. Great start by Loeb. My goodness me, you could see he was just a few inches ahead immediately he went. And this was brave by Ericsson around the outside, but ultimately it didn't pay off.
Yeah, you've got to try it there. You know, you're stuck on the outside. This is Baumann at the inside.
He should get a warning for that as well. Maybe not a warning
for
flag.
the track marker. Yeah, he was helped over there. In the background, you could see Ericsson really hit it, but Sebastian was away with it there. He's coming on form, isn't he?
He is indeed. Checkered flag for Loeb. Great job. Big gap.
Eric, that was a great drive by Sebastian. Key thing there is he got the joker right this time, showing how fast he can be.
Yeah, of course. We had a good day yesterday. Very good speed and the first overall qualification win. And now hopefully one more. So we are happy at the moment.
It's working between the two of you, but what's it like to spot for a 9-time World Rally Champion?
Yeah, of course, it's special. He is, he's a very experienced driver and he's been doing a lot very well. So we want him to do well here also.
Good luck, thank you.
Last race of Q3 is on the line. Matthias Ekström, overnight TQ on the inside. Timur Timosyanov, second fastest in Q2 yesterday. Great return to form by the Russian. Kristoffersson, been unlucky in the last couple of events. Petter Solberg, the current world champion, and alongside him, the world championship runner-up, Timmy Hansen. This is a very strong lineup indeed. Hansen on board, getting himself fired up, pulls the car into gear on the handbrake, goes through his start procedure. You can see Matthias Ekström just a few moments ago doing the same. There's Kenneth Hansen, Rallycross legend, waiting to see his son compete for a place in the semi-finals. Lights are on, pretty even start. Solberg looks to have hooked up well. Solberg ahead of Kristoffersson. Solberg's moving right the way across, shuts the door, and Timosyanov's going to go round the outside of Ekström. Solberg's done well. Timosyanov gets pushed wide in the background by Kristoffersson. Hansen up the inside as well, so Timosyanov's dropped back to 5th place, and into the lead though, Ekström.
He got a really good start. Solberg got the best start of everyone, tried to brave it out around the outside, and he almost looked like he had it done. Ran a little bit wide, but now Ekström's free, so we can really compare the two between Sebastian Loeb and Ekström. We'll see what they've both got in this one.
Ekström there, just a tiny hop over the curb. We've seen different approaches to it. We know that curb at the bottom there is a big one. But you were saying the Peugeots are quite stiff over the curbs yesterday. Into the joker lap, Kristoffersson on lap 1.
Yeah, the Peugeots look quite stiffly sprung, but Ekström's car, they look like they've really got that work in, all the springs and dampers in harmony with each other. Matthias is obviously on the top of his game at the minute. We hear that's with Petter's on new tyres, so he's the only one on new tyres, which is quite interesting. He obviously, read into that what you want, but he obviously needs that to get a good time in this one. If he doesn't necessarily win or get quickest time, he's then taking life out of the tyres for later on in the event. So it's, good short term. Is it good long term? I don't know.
Only 8 tyres per event for the supercar drivers. There you can see that little hop up over the curbs into the off-camber left in the background. Who's going to go to the joker lap? Neither of the lead two. So these guys following themselves around the train. Remember, this is about race time. The faster the time, the further up the qualification standings they are, and that will put them in a better position to qualify further up the all-important semi-finals.
Ekström's going very quickly. He's done a 38.8. Sebastian Loeb's best time in that he was a 39.2, so he's going very quickly. His first lap off the start was a very quick one as well, so he's in clear air. This is where he looks like he's at his best. We've seen it at the minute so far this season. He's doing it a lot. He's in clear air. He gets his head down, and he's absolutely at one with the car.
Fastest lap of the day, 38.806 from Matthias Ekström. He's absolutely smashing it at the minute. Overnight TQ 3 events in a row, TQ 2 events in a row. Solberg to the joke lap, so Solberg's gone in. That's more of the line we've seen from the drivers when they've been feeling good about getting the car turned in earlier. I think that'll be a decent joker by Petter. Slots back out. Hansen hasn't jokered, so Petter now will be looking to hunt him down. You can see the order swaps over the jump, and Petter in the background.
It's looking though it might be a very good call to go on the new tyres. Yeah, as I said, it's going to take life out of them for the semi and the semi-final and the final, but it's going to get him a good time. And out of the comms box, I can see Timosyanov's had a problem there. So it's going to, he's not going to beat Ekström, I wouldn't think, but he's still going to put him right up there, and then for the fourth heat.
Now, you're a bit of an insider at EKS, of course. You had a drive with them last year. Wiseman, fastest lap of the day again, 38.771. Ekström into the joker lap. Looked pretty good to me. Finds the traction on the way out. Look at that. Comes out tightly in front. Brilliant job. Checker flag. Solberg comes across in second. Kristoffersson and Hansen almost gets him at the line. 2:43.2. That is the fastest time of the weekend by more than a second. That's 1.3. How's he so fast? Timosyanov, why is Ekström so fast, Andrew? Or are you not at liberty to say?
No, I think they're just very happy. They've obviously, everyone develops over the winter, but he's done lots of little things. He's very, very happy with the car. He's very happy with the team atmosphere. Toppy's doing a great job there as well. So everything's going according to plan at their place at the minute.
Not quite so for Timosyanov. Matthias Ekström Petter Solberg second, Kristoffersson, Hansen and Timo Timozianov with a DNF. Ekstrom then and Solberg both going to the top of the list. That is a super fast time by Ekstrom. Loeb in third, Kristoffersson, Hansen your top 5 in Q3. This was the start. Having a look at Solberg. So Solberg, you really think here he's done it, and then just a bit too much sideline. Super, yeah. Look at Ekstrom tidy, and he got him before he even got to the apex.
You can see Petter had to carry so much speed in. His tyres were smoking, couldn't get the traction to accelerate off. But Ekstrom at the minute in a class of his own, that time super quick. He's at one with the car, and he's going to take some catching, isn't he?
He is indeed. He is indeed. Lovely job in the Joker lap. Fires the gas on the S1. Fastest time of the weekend.
You seem to be getting absolutely everything right, and so is Matthias in the car. That was so quick.
Yeah, Matthias is doing a really good job, you know, and he showed it again one more time in this heat that he's up to pace, he's quite relaxed, and yeah, everything is going really well so far.
What do we have to do to convert that to another win?
Just keep going, keep focusing on each heat, you know, and we see where we bring. But for sure, we need to be in a good position for the semi and the final. Yeah.
Thank you. Good luck.
Great action for the crowd this weekend. Here is how they stand after Q3. Matthias Ekstrom then continues to hold the TQ. 2 wins there you can see in Q2 and Q3. Those are 50 qualification points each. The only other qualification winner, Sebastian Loeb, there in second, having won Q1 yesterday. Solberg, Kristoffersson, Hansen, Baumanis, Duval and Timozianov. And inside the top 12 at the minute, Markland, Genet, Eriksson and Larsen. Nitish, Haken, and the double winner doesn't look like he's going to make it, Gronholm or Doran. The RX Light support category is back for 2016. The one-make four-wheel drive car's proving a great stepping stone to World RX, with the last 2 champions now competing in Supercar. Round 1 in Hockenheim saw 2015 front-runner Thomas Brinterson back at the front all weekend, taking TQ, semi and final wins for a perfect score in Germany. Brinterson leads the standings on 30 points, with Cyril Raymond and Joachim Wahl the podium finishers at round 1. Despite that great start to his season, Brinterson knows there are plenty of drivers snapping away at his heels and working hard to try and take that top spot.
Yeah, it was a really good weekend for me in Hockenheim. We had some problems in the start of the weekend, but we fixed it and we ended on the top of the podium, so I'm really happy with that. Yeah, you saw Cyril Raymond drive really fast, and it's also many others like Joachim Wahl who drives really fast, so it's a tough series for sure.
Yeah, it was a very good first race for me because there's a good level in RX Light this year. Thomas Brinterson is very fast. This weekend is really a fantastic track. The level in RX Light is very hard. Thomas Brinterson is very fast, so it's not easy to win the race. But it's not impossible. The start is really important in RX Light, so I need to improve my start and my driving on the gravel. It's possible to win the race, but I think it's good to do a clean hit, and after we will see.
Okay, Hockenheim. Friday was an okay day. I didn't drive to my full potential. When I drove better on Saturday, the car let me down, which is rallycross. So I had a mechanical issue with the oil pressure sensor. But everything else was good. I was happy with the weekend. I learned a lot. So looking forward to this weekend. 2 years of RX Lights should get me enough experience and pace to do the supercars. I'm not looking to win the championship this year. This year's my goal for the whole year is just to finish every race in the final. No podium or podium, doesn't matter. It's just to get to the finals. Yeah, that's what I can say my goal is. And then hopefully in a couple of years, supercars. Oh, I love the track. It's a Kenyan track. It's a Kenyan track. Yeah, it's a great track. It's technical, fast, tricky. I'm a bit shy about the first corner, but we'll see how it goes.
The RX Lights are here in Belgium. It's time for their final round 2 of their championship. This is how they line up. Sondre Evjen on pole with Thomas Brintersen alongside on row 1. Then it's Cyril Raymond and Joachim Wahl. And Simon Olofsson and Simon Vergo Swesson at the back. Thumbs up from the marshal on top of the tower. That gets passed down to the driver's check, but they're all good to go. Evjen going to have to try and keep Raymond behind on the way down to turn 1, but most importantly, of course, Brintersen on the outside. Turn 1, tricky here when they're in a line, a little bit easier when they're on a grid. Green light, look like a great start from Raymond in the background. So Raymond, but Evjen has moved out, so Evjen blocks Brintersen alongside. Raymond looks like he's going to get up the inside of Brintersen and does. So Raymond up to second place. Brintersen now on the outside again. I think Brintersen might lose another place. Brintersen's been sideways, just manages to hold on and stays in third place.
Great start from Cyril Raymond. He boxed Brintersen out. Brintersen looked like he was trying to tuck in to the inside, get into the clean inside line. We've seen a lot of carnage at the first corner, and it's all because it bottles up a little bit. But Brintersen was really, really impressive in his semi-final. He had a roll yesterday here, damaged the car a little bit, but to come through from his semi-final where he started to win that, he's very, very quick. But Cyril Raymond giving chase now to Evjen in the lead.
Impressive job as well by Brintersen's team overnight. Actually repainted the roof in the paddock. That's the length they went to, so great job by then. Joachim Wahl goes into the Joker on lap 1. Remember, this is a 6-lap final. 1 Joker lap, as always, to be taken in any race, whether it's qualifying semis or finals. Evjen leading from Raymond. This is a good drive by Evjen. Sverre Isaksson as his mentor. RX on ice during the winter. Seems to have done wonders for the car control out front. Raymond, Brintersen now coming towards the back of Raymond. And as you mentioned, in the semi-final, Brintersen got the better of Raymond.
And they really played the Joker well, so it'll be interesting to see. None of them Joker. It'll be interesting to see when they do Joker that, because Brintersen, the tactics that the spotter used there, slotted him right out just in front of Cyril Raymond. But going back to the start, these look actually a little bit more tricky to get off the line than the supercars. The supercars obviously have a huge amount of power. These are normally aspirated, so a fair bit down on horsepower. They're still four-wheel drive, but because of the lack of horsepower, they really have to look. It sounds like they slip the clutch a little bit to get the cars going. So a little bit more technique required actually on your feet rather than just letting the clutch go as quick as possible.
Evjen coming under a bit of pressure now as well. Raymond and Brintersen, rather than racing each other and slowing each other up, are pushing hard, and they've closed the gap down to Evjen. So now really they've got to decide whether or not to Joker. They might end up both going together here. Raymond goes Joker, Brintersen stays on the standard lap.
I think Brintersen would be waiting there to see if Cyril Raymond a little bit sideways out, kills momentum a little bit onto the straight, but just to see where, because there'd be no point in Brintersen following him there, because all he's going to do is follow him home to the flag. So you've got to do something different. Brintersen now will be absolutely flat out trying to close that gap. I wouldn't mind betting if he leaves it one more lap, gets a little bit closer, then Jokers. It'll depend on his pace. The spotter have got a really, really important and quite complicated job, because they need to look out one where they're going to slot out, if they're going to slot out into clear air. But Brintersen's going to be racing Cyril Raymond really here.
Brintersen though as well is closing the gap on Evjen in front. If they wait another lap, he could then be held up by Evjen if he thinks he's in the faster car. So here we go, Brintersen decision time, and he hasn't had to worry. Evjen's gone. That gives Brintersen a whole nother lap to try and get the pace. So Evjen's going to come out alongside with the drag race with Cyril Raymond down towards turn 1. Evjen trying to come around the outside, but Raymond should get this done unless Evjen's feeling really brave to go across the front of him, side by side. Great job, Evjen holds on over the jump. Absolutely fantastic defence of his position.
Really brave stuff. The sensible thing then would have been to tuck in behind Raymond, but he's obviously not feeling too sensible, and it paid off for him. But that has really played into the hands of Brintersen, because those two fighting now. I don't know if Brintersen slow. Someone slowed down on the back straight down there, but that has really played in. No, it's not. Brintersen now in front. His spotter will be on the radio. Just push, keep it neat and tidy. I think they'll send him to the last lap. Yes, he was going to joke on the last lap.
So Brintersen has to get his head down. We saw him do this, the overlap, basically in 2 laps in the semi with Raymond. They joked, I think, the lap after each other, and Brintersen still had enough. So, in theory, he's got the pace to get this done. He was dominant in Hockenheim, took a maximum score with Q1 and wins in the semi and in the final. So great job, and he'll be hoping to do the same again there. 2 wheels for Evjen. Evjen now possibly holding up Raymond up the inside. Evjen's punted off into the gravel. That's a real shame for Evjen's going to have to gun it. Keep the gravel spinning, and Evjen drops all the way to the back of the cars that are still running. Raymond now as well coming under a bit of pressure from Olofsson. This is surely playing into Brintersen's hands. Here we go. Brintersen.
That was really close, because I think Evjen was going to do it on time, but Brintersen, it all played into his hands.
Out of the Joker lap, Brintersen is going to take this one. Absolutely fantastic drive by him, and I think he has been lucky. It's not as big a gap as thought. Brintersen from Raymond and Olofsson, and as Andrew Jordan said, Brinderson there doing a good drive. I think lucky that there was some stuff going on behind him to hold up the other drivers, so Raymond could possibly got it done. And Evgen, you have to feel a bit sorry for Evgen there, leading the race, and then just a little bit of contact ended up in the gravel. So that'll be disappointment. Crosses the line for a 5th place. Vegos Versen was the car we saw at the bottom of the hill retiring. Here is the result of the final of round 2 of the RX Lights Championship. Thomas Brinderson with another win. Cyril Raymond in 2nd. Simon Olofsson, Joachim Wahl, Sonder Evgen, and Simon Vegos Versen. Off the line in the background. Olofsson dives right to the inside.
Olofsson got a really good start, but look, Brinderson has to sit it out on the outside. A little bit of rubbing, nothing too big really. But Evgen was playing it, you know, really safe, really quick, nice, neat and tidy laps.
Evgen looked like went away at the start of the race, but then, as I say, Raymond and Brinderson got in just a little 2-car train and chased that gap down. And this was really, I think Brinderson got lucky here, because if Evgen hadn't gone, he'd have had to go, and then where would he have slotted back in, you know, without enough laps? And then this really helped.
This was really brave around the outside there. Evgen over the curves. This is the move. He clipped the tyres, was a little bit slow. Cyril Raymond, to be fair, that move was on. He just hit. Cyril Raymond got the car too loose under the brake, and there was still a gap because Evgen had ran a little bit wide.
Brinderson with the win, holding on. Decent final from RX Lights. Here are the championship standings after round 2. Brinderson then with only a 5-point lead over Cyril Raymond. I think that fight's going to go on for the rest of the season. Joachim Wahl. Olofsson moves up to 4th. Vegos Versen staying in 5th. Evgen up 1, Westland down 1, and Hirani in 8th.
Thomas, this car was on its roof yesterday. Today it's on the top step of the podium. A 2nd win out of 2 events. How does it feel?
It feels amazing. All the team have worked on the car the whole night, and now we are back on the top of the podium, and yeah, it's incredible.
And that final, you stayed out of trouble and everything happened behind you. Did you know that you had a chance to win?
Yeah, I heard on the radio that I have a gap, so I push what I can, but I had some problem with the engine, so it doesn't run like it should, but yeah, I'm really happy.
How did you manage to sort of overcome the troubles from yesterday when you rolled?
Yeah, you need to just move on and try to do the best today, and yeah, I'm really happy.
Should be. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, Q4 is almost upon us. Here is how they stand after Q3. And remember, only the top 12 go through. So at the minute, Ekstrom, Loeb, Solberg, Kristoffersen, Hansen, Baumanis, Duval and Timosyanov are looking pretty safe. These are the guys who need to worry. Mark and Genet, Eriksson and Larsen are just inside the top 12. And those people who would love to nick the spots back include Nittish and double winner Heikkinen in 14th. Can he make the semi-cut? Last chance saloon, on to Q4, race 1. Liam Doran, Andreas Backrud, Timo Timosyanov and Ken Block. So problems for both the focuses in Q3. Ken Block with another DNF. He'd be keen just to get 1 race under his belt here. And Backrud with that spin as he approached the Joker lap, chasing Topi Heikkinen. Timosyanov, so good in Q2. Didn't work out in Q3. Ready to go either way. Another pretty long hold. Looks like a good start by Timosyanov and Backrud on the inside. Very even start. In fact, Backrud looks to have got the better of them. Backrud shuts the door on Doran. Doran stocks into 2nd. Timosyanov really sideways. Liam spins in the background. Liam Doran's gone round in the mini. So he's sat the drive shafts out again. Front right corner. Look under the car. You can see the drive shaft clearly sitting there. Into the hairpin. Backrud on the handbrake. Timosyanov as well. And then in the background, Ken Block. That's the 2nd day in a row we've seen that from Liam Doran. Actually, we're not looking at him now, but do you think he clipped the barrier or something on the way in?
That's what happened yesterday, wasn't it? And you could actually see the drive shaft pop out at the right front, but I'm not sure if it did then. Timosyanov was very brave around the outside. I'm surprised he didn't take the Joker there. I think it's going to be, obviously, I think he's the favourite in this one. He was really, really quick in the 2nd heat. Very fast laps. So unfortunate for Duran. As we said, he's looking forward to Lydon getting that new engine in the car. But he's just been a little bit unlucky this weekend.
He has indeed. Backrud, where's Backrud so far? Looking down the list, Backrud's in 18th place. They need an absolute miracle here to get himself up to the semi-final. So tough weekend for the whole of Hoonigan Racing Division, but great to see both cars circulating well now. This man though, Timo Timosyanov, double European Rallycross champion, in Super background there, that looked like Ken Block had a big hit on the curbs in the background. You heard it on the trackside camera. Timozyanov releases himself from behind backward. Yesterday, Q2, that was a hell of a drive behind Ekstrom by Timozyanov.
Absolutely, and as you say, he's a double European champion. He's going to come out in a bit of traffic. He's on the grass.
Oh, Timozyanov, one wheel on the grass on the brakes, outbraked himself, and he's almost in the barrier. Just stops it. Strange decision to try and go around the outside of Block. I mean, he has nowhere to go. He's carrying more speed, I guess.
You don't know whether that was his call to take the joke or the team's, but if it was the team's, you'd be asking, why have you joking me when I'm going to come out in traffic like that? Obviously, yeah, he's outbraked himself and gone into the wall. But I would think if that was the team's decision, I wouldn't be in the position to take all the blame for that. You've been put in a situation when you could have been brought out into clear air. But as we were saying, he's double European champion. He was on absolute form yesterday, which was great to see. He's just been a little bit unlucky. He hasn't forgot to drive at all. He's really, really quick, and it's just unfortunate today's unfolded a little bit unlucky for him.
Backward has jokered. Ken Block hasn't, so Ken Block yet to joker, and Timozyanov, I think, with the problems he's had, will be lucky to catch up with him, but he's on a bit of a mission. Timozyanov, you can see him in the background over the jump, slides the car down towards the gravel chicane as the Hoonigan Racing Division cars go in sequence together down the back straight. Really unique sound on the Focus. Your first event this year, Andrew. What's been your impression of it all?
They sound very different compared to anything, don't they? It's a really impressive looking car. It looks quite a big car, compared to the Fiesta. I'll be interested to see what Ken Block thinks, what the pros and cons are. Obviously, it's early in its development. Good heat win for Backward, but it's quite a big car, and they're just, they're developing this car in public at the minute.
They are indeed very hard to do. Block crosses the line in second, and Timozyanov in third. Crowd still enjoying it, which is good to see. There's Liam Doran walking back from the Stricken Mini. Not such a good weekend for him. Picks up the missing drive shaft from the car. Backward with the win from Ken Block. Timozyanov in third. And Liam Doran with a DNF. Not a bad time by Backward, 2:45.5, but a couple of seconds off the ultimate pace of Ekstrom in Q3. This is turn one.
I don't think Duran did clip them. Yeah, I don't think he did clip the wall like we saw yesterday. You can see in the background it's already spinning here, but that's because it's put drive to 3 of the wheels rather than 4 as the drive shafts come out. So unfortunate. Whether it's something they need to look at and try and improve. We've seen a lot of that because the start line seems very grippy. In the background, huge big air hit there. This is it. So Timozyanov comes out in traffic here. He tries to go on the outside. He hasn't got the braking performance because he's on the grass. So it's very unfortunate.
Lucky not to put it in the barrier hard. Had nowhere to go, really. Either way, Backward out front took the win.
Andreas, it's not been an easy weekend for you so far, but nice to get a heat win.
Yeah. We're still developing. We're having fun, and we're pushing as hard as we can, and I just enjoy it. It's been a tough weekend, like you said, hard, but it's so big potential, and I feel it. It's just we got to deliver.
Thank you. Good luck.
We've got some fantastic slow motion pictures for you to have a look at, and this of course is Mattias Ekstrom, the winner last time out in Hockenheim, and this was from yesterday's practice session before the event began. Andrew Jordan, Ekstrom is on a bit of a mission, isn't he, at the minute?
He is, isn't he? He's got his car working absolutely spot on, but there's some really nice flowing corners out the back of this circuit. The circuit's in fantastic condition. We've walked the circuit and seen it's not rutting up. And you can see there the car's just dancing over one curb to the next curb. Here, this is Backward in the new Focus RS. A little bit of understeer on the way and lots of lock, but you'll see he'll get the car turning and then he'll flick it the other way over the apex curb. There is a penalty for the markers if you clip those, so you've got to be really precise with where you're positioning the front of the car.
You can see him there as well, can't you? On the brake, then off, and you see the nose of the car rise, and it's about getting that weight transfer right to get the grip where you want it.
Absolutely, and it's reacting to how the car's turned in. It's not going to turn in exactly the same every corner, every lap, so as a driver you've got to react to that. Here, 9-time world champion Sebastian Loeb over the big jump. Big air. We've seen some cars nosediving here. Let's see how this one lands as it comes down. You can see the front's already taped up from a bit of a harsh landing. The front bumper obviously quite flexible there. It's not made too strong, so it has got a little bit of giving for those hard landings.
We saw a few people in practice trying to figure the jump out. A few of them squashing it before takeoff, so just a little dab on the brake before they launched it off the crest. And some people were almost seemingly taking it flat. Here's Kristoffersson, so looking at this, a little bit more of an angle on the car as he comes over the jump. and maybe squashing the landing a little bit better.
Yeah, that landed a little bit more flat, didn't it? It didn't absorb it all through the front end, but these cars, the suspension's getting so advanced now, the teams are obviously getting more and more experience with the suspension setup, and it just soaks it up. That's a big jump. We went and walked that last night, and it's a huge jump, and that just takes it like it's a little hop off the side of a curb. So, and this is Duval, who's been very impressive, very maximum attack the whole weekend so far. A lot of roll in that car, you can see, and then he'll break a little nip on the handbrake, I would imagine, into the left-hander.
This is the hairpin down at the bottom of the circuit, so it's important to get the car turned in here. Watch for the rear wheels locking up. There you go, on the handbrake, and that just initiates the turn.
Yeah, you can see he had a couple of goes on that, and it looked like he pulled it with the wheels not turning a huge amount. And Larson, look at his front wheels just flickering in and out a lot, controlling the slide all the way through there. So it's about adapting. As I say, the turning isn't going to be the same the whole time. Hakkinen, he's had a bit of a tough weekend so far, but over the jump, let's see how this one lands. As you say, there's many different approaches to how you can take off. If you brake and then accelerate over it, he landed it really nicely there. Didn't upset the car at all, really.
Brilliant drive from Hakkinen. Can he make it 3 wins in a row in Belgium? For the EKS team, it would be a great result. Here we go, Q4 race 2 on the line already. 1 car missing. Hakkinen on the inside, Gronholm, Anton Markland. It's Rennie Munich who's missing, but the sister car of Reinis Nittisch is there. Hakkinen was hoping for a 3rd win in a row. He's in 14th place, so he's slightly higher up than he was after Q2, but needs an absolute flyer here to drag himself into the bottom of the top 12 and hope for a miracle to get himself to that 3rd win in a row. Can he get a decent start? It's absolutely critical that he does. Oh, and it's a bad start for Marken, moving across. Nittisch coming in the ball towards the inside, but Hakkinen has got it done, locks the rear wheels up, he's running himself a bit wide. Nittisch, very opportunistic up the inside, Nittisch into the lead. Hakkinen having a fight with Marken, in the background having a fight with Gronholm, so contact between them. And Hakkinen has just managed to bite his way up into 2nd place. Braked a bit late into turn 1, maybe.
You can see he got it all locked up, all 4 wheels were locked up. Then he got a little tap he could have done with just breaking that up a little bit earlier. I spoke to the EKS guys and they said how important this one was. They put some new tyres on, so threw absolutely everything into it to try and get him into the semis. I don't know whether they're all joking or yes, he's going to the Joker. It's going to be interesting where he comes out in the background, but he needs to be in clear air to utilise that fresh rubber.
He does indeed. He's going to come out behind Marken, so Gronholm with a mistake, it looks like, in the Joker behind. And now Hakkinen, if he's got the pace here, he's going to hope, isn't he, that Marken maybe jokers early and leaves him some space. A bit untidy past the commentary position. You're looking for Hakkinen in the background. There he is, Nittisch.
In the background, Hakkinen. He looks like he's slowing, as you say, as he went past the comms box. He looked like it was all over the place a little bit, but I think he's slowing in the background.
We can't see it from up here. Hakkinen's on the back straight. We're looking a long way from our competition down the hill. Nittisch, you're looking at, is in the lead. A long way, but I don't think Hakkinen is going to make this seat. Hakkinen stops right in the very background of your shot. Look right down the bottom of the hill. Last year's winner, the double winner. There he is. Toppy Hakkinen is on a go slow. And Hakkinen is not going to make it 3 podiums in a row this season, and he's not going to make it 3 wins in a row in Belgium. That's a shame. That is a shame, but there you go. You win some, you lose some. Markland, we had a long chat with this morning on the pre-grid.
Yeah, Markland had a really good Saturday, didn't he? He said he's getting used to the car. He's, you know, it's a merge of Kristoffersson and Markland Motorsport, so they've put the good points from both of the cars, and Kristoffersson and Markland have driven both of the cars, and they're developing this on. He said this has got quite a small window to being in the sweet spot. Kristoffersson's obviously on top of it, and Markland just getting there, just getting used to it. Nittisch in the Joker, looked like he bogged down a little bit mid-corner, but Nittisch, again, this is a new car being developed in public, not a huge amount of running pre-season, and we know how quick Nittisch is, so it's good for him to try and develop the car on, and obviously he's going to come to a point, he wants to be getting results, so it's tough when you're trying to develop the car and get reliability issues along the way, but it looked like they're making progress with it.
He squashed the the jump with just a little bit of brake before the crest. The Ibiza looking low and wide at the rear, on board with Hakkinen. That's the disappointment of a weekend not going your way. Door open, hand on the head. That's a shame for Toppy. Reinis Nittisch around the last corner is going to win race 2 of Q4. Comes down to take the checker flag. Behind him is Markland to 246.3. So backward faster by about 8 tenths. There's Hakkinen. There's just belts are off. He hasn't moved. He's just really, really disappointed.
You can hear the engine still running, so it hasn't lost, you know, whether it's driveline or something, we obviously don't know, but it's the engine's still running, just letting the turbo cool down as much as possible.
All right, Heikkinen climbing out of the car. Nitish with the win, Markland, Gronholm. Heikkinen showing just, I think, the one lap, and then DNS for Rennie Munich. Off the line, let's see if we can spot anything down towards turn 1. I mean, everything's good here. I wonder maybe that little tap, Andrew, on the way into turn 1, would it have been enough? But then he still had performance down the back straight on the first lap.
Yeah, you can see there's a little bit of smoke on the left rear, but I don't think, we'll see if we can see anything here. No, everything all looks in line still, so not quite sure what that is, but that's really unfortunate. He's been on form all year so far, just unfortunate for him not to get a result where he's been so dominant over the last couple of years.
It's a shame for Toppy, but it's a win for Nitish.
Renis, great to get a race win in there. How did it feel?
It feels better, you know. It was, I can say, disaster all 3 heats, and no luck at all. And you know, when you're out in a heat 1, then it continues like for all other heats. But now we won. I pushed hard. I'm on the limit. I don't know, will be semi-finals or no, but I did everything what I can. Just yeah, I can say some wall in the front, but hopefully we'll be okay.
Good luck, thank you.
Thank you.
Q4, race 3. David Genet, Francois Duval, Yannis Baumanis, Robin Larsen and Kevin Eriksson. Duval in 7th place at the minute. Local favourite, of course. Won Belgian round of the European Rallycross Championship in the past. P2 on the grid, Genet on his inside. Quite a tricky grid position, isn't it, the inside?
It is if you get the perfect start, but everyone can squeeze across on you, and there's those tyres obviously that stick out, so it's you'd look at it and go, on paper that's the best place to be, but we have seen some people sweep around the outside from row 2 or row 3.
All about getting the best start, whatever position you're in on the grid. Just desperately trying not to be in that bundle. We all know 5 into 1 doesn't go, and turn 1 here is very narrow. Very long hold again. Baumanis looked like in a slow reaction time, but it's an absolutely brilliant one from Francois Duval. Oh, Baumanis into the side of Larsen, Larsen into the side of Genet, all the way around the outside. I think it was Eriksson that tried to go all the way around. Genet's now up the inside, but it's Duval who's going to lead down into the chicane at the bottom of the hill as everybody just about slots himself into place. So Duval, great start.
Really good start. He got across and covered Genet. Genet, that was quite a rough couple of corners, and we understand he's driving with a bit of an injured shoulder, so that won't have helped that at all. But Larsen, there was a little bit of rubbing. Larsen came over to close the door, but Duval's been very quick, as we've always seen when he's been here. He's been maximum attack. He hasn't done a huge amount of driving in this car, and you can see he's in front of Kevin Eriksson, who's driving the car all the time.
That's Genet straight into the Joker. Duval out front, you know, he's been here a couple of years, hasn't he, and just hasn't had the results. He's had like a problem in Q1 or something and just hasn't been there. But this weekend, he's hooked it all up and put it together, and he throws the car around a lot. You can see that from his rally days. There are places where he transitions the car where other people might be a little bit tidier with it, but he's still setting times.
He's very flamboyant to watch, a bit like Petter Solberg, really, when we've seen over the jumps, and he's the way he transitions the car. You know, you can see the car moving around. He's really having a lot of driver input, so it doesn't look like it's the smoothest to watch, but it's very effective. We've seen those 2 different styles work for lots of different people.
We watched Larsen going to the Joker lap. You were saying yesterday as well that you feel that Larsen's changed his driving style a bit between the 2 seasons.
Absolutely, he just seems very smooth. There's going to be a close finish. I think he's going to have it covered. Yeah, Genet ducks in, so not too much fighting there between the 2. But Larsen, he doesn't look like he's trying too hard. You know, he had a win at the end of last year, and that's obviously done his confidence a lot of good. And so even on bad weekends, his approach seems like he'll get the most he can out of the car. He won't try and go that extra bit and try and find a couple of tenths that realistically aren't there. He'll get the most he can out of it. So Larsen, I think, is doing a really good job this season.
Larsen apparently under investigation, as we say all that, so let's hope that doesn't spoil his weekend. Duval and Eriksson are out front. Eriksson, I think, has gone to the Joker lap. So that leaves only Francois Duval to Joker. He comes out in front of Larsen. Duval then, in theory, if he does a tidy Joker, there's the graphic at the top of your screen just showing Duval with a cross, because he hasn't jokered.
I'm not sure if Larsen in the background's broke something, because he went through turn 1 here. I think he's broke a shaft, the drive shaft. he's broke something driveline, like we've seen so many of these, whether it's the jumps and the big curves are giving the car such a hard time. We've seen lots of drive shafts, lots of diff problems. As he went through turn one, he had a big moment, and I think he's broke a drive shaft.
Duval, in the graphic, showed you at the bottom of the screen that he should be on for this, but we saw Sebastian Loeb yesterday make a mistake on the way in. No such mistake from Francois Duval. Duval comes from the joke lap exit onto the straight. You can see the checker flag, and you can hear the local crowd. They like that. Duval over the line for the win with Kevin Eriksson behind him. Genet in third. And we're still waiting for Baumanis and Larsen. So Baumanis and Larsen both coming through to take the finish. Larsen, not too bad, really. Not as far back as I thought he might be. He was in 12th position, though. Larsen was in 12th position coming into Q4. Is that going to see him drop out of the top 12 when qualifying is said and done? Francois Duval, 2:45.7. Then it's Eriksson, Genet, Baumanis and Larsen. Duval's time good enough for second place, so backwards still sitting at the top of the table. That's not a bad result considering the trouble they've had this weekend. Eriksson slots into 4th, Genet slots into 7th. Off the line, right, this is Baumanis. We're going to follow Baumanis and stay with it all the way through turn one.
I wonder whether that's contributed to the end result of Larsen having an issue, because that was quite a big hit on his right rear. Look at all the dust coming over. Genet, who we mentioned at the time, had quite a hard time of it with that injured shoulder, but pretty straightforward for Francois Duval. You know, he looks like he's getting on top of that. It's going to be a good result if he can get through. He was in the top 7, I think, earlier. This is Baumanis with a big moment. I'm sure we'll get a few warnings there for the track markers.
That's more than one. We spoke about that yesterday. If you're going to do one, can you just do a row of them and not worry about it?
Depends
Is
if
that
it's one at a time. Yeah, exactly.
One flag or 4 warnings, not sure. Larsen with a spin down the bottom, and from this, even though he tapped the barrier, managed to come round and finish not too far behind. But the local crowd will like that. Francois Duval is going to make it through to the semi-finals.
Francois, very popular win with the local crowd. A fantastic race.
Yes, I am very happy. I drive only one time per year. So I win again. It's quite very good. It's very good for me, for my morale. And it's the first time as well. I drive a really good car. It's quite different.
I look forward to seeing you in the semi-final.
Yes, it's quite good.
The European Rallycross Championship for Supercars kicks off here in Belgium. It's round 1 of 5. Fantastic series featuring the same cars as in the World Championship and some absolutely fantastic drivers. And we have a brand new TV show which will bring you all the highlights of the action. So semi-finals for the Supercars and the final, and then whichever of the categories is supporting it. So this weekend it's touring cars. We're going to see Super 1600s later on in the year. You'll be able to catch the show on a Tuesday after the event on the World RX YouTube account. Neil Cole is down with the current champion Tommy Rustad and one of this year's challengers, Kevin Hansen.
Well, it's great to have 2 reigning champions in front of me. Timmy, of course, you're reigning RX Lights champion, and Tommy, you're reigning European Rallycross champion. Give us an idea of what's so competitive about this championship.
I think this championship is very good because that make a recruit for the World Championship in the future, both with the teams and the drivers, which have less experience and less budget. So it's a good championship when they can compete in a high level and compete with the good guys and together with the World Championship. So that's hopefully for many of the drivers and teams can start from that.
Now, Tommy, you've worked very hard for many years and you finally got a European Championship. This is your first season in Supercars, Timmy. Kevin, give us an idea what it feels like to step up to Supercars.
Yeah, I did the first race last year in Argentina, and it's just an amazing feeling. And to be able to be 17 and already drive a supercar in the European Championship and the selected world rounds, it's really great for me. And thanks to the sponsor, to making this happen and believing in me for a second year in a row. So I'm really happy to be here. And to racing with Tommy is a real honor. I've seen him since I was a kid when he did STCC and etc. So it's really nice to have him on board, and it's a really good championship to race in.
And it must feel particularly good if you can be competitive against him or maybe even beat him. I mean, is that possible?
Yeah, for sure it's possible. We push a lot, and I have the world champion car from last year from Team Peugeot Hansen, so the car is really good, and I feel competitive this weekend in Belgium, and I've had good training this weekend or the past weekends in World RX, so I feel really prepared, and Tommy is really fast, so yeah.
Well, you're both in Peugeots. The most exciting thing is we've got the big supercar World RX final. In a word, who's going to win in the World RX today?
I don't know. I have to focus on myself. But I'm Norwegian, so I hope Petter is winning.
And finally,
you know, Seb and Timmy will be really hard to beat. So
good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, brilliant action so far here at round 3 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship. There is just one race to go in Q4, and it's going to decide who gets the all-important pole position in the semi-finals. We're in Belgium for round 3 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship presented by Monster Energy. My name is Andrew Coley. Alongside me on commentary this weekend is Andrew Jordan, and we have Neil Cole reporting from the paddock and the pre-grid. Right now, we've been having a look back at qualifying, and this is how they provisionally stand after race 3 of Q4. So Matthias Ekström, highlighted there, has yet to race and yet again has done enough. Look at that, currently P2, having not even raced Q4. So outstanding from him again. On page 2, Loeb, Solberg and Kristoffersson also yet to race, so they will easily make it in, and it's going to be those guys who are hovering around 9th and 10th and 13th to see whether or not they get inside that all-important top 12. There is one final qualifying race left to go in Q4, and as always, it will decide who is the top qualifier ahead of the semi-finals. While the drivers are down on the grid, waiting to get themselves ready for the semi-final. Overcast, we've had a few spots of rain during the day, but so far it's held off. Lots of people making last-minute decisions about what tyres to go on and whether to take new tyres, basically. Andrew Jordan, you've got some information on those tyre choices.
Yeah, it's been an exciting weekend so far, hasn't it? And yet again, Matthias Ekström's proven himself as the one to beat.
Bossed it, absolutely bossed it. And those guys have done something serious over the winter, haven't they? And again, some interest. I say Matthias in particular. New front tyres has he got?
Yeah, I asked him why did he go for new fronts and not down the right side, and he said I don't like understeer. So it's quite a quick answer. So he goes for front end bite to point at the front. And we've seen some kind of different. Some people are going new rears to get a bit more rear grip, and some down the right side. So different kind of strategy on tyre usage, which another aspect to make it that bit more interesting.
Well, we're going to have a look back right now at that very last race from Q4, and that, as I said, is going to decide who gets the all-important TQ spot. Final race of qualification. Q4, race 4. Looks like this. Matthias Ekström on the inside with Petter Solberg next to him, Sebastian Loeb, Johan Kristoffersson and Timmy Hansen. Now that is quite some lineup. Last time's winner and current TQ expert, it seems, Matthias Ekström. Timmy Hansen, the championship runner-up on the outside, firing himself up. Solberg, the double champion. Loeb, the 9-time World Rally champion. And Kristoffersson, who's been so unlucky. Can he get the job done here? Another long hole, bad start by Solberg, great start, Loeb sees that, shuts the door immediately, but Ekström's on the inside, contact between Ekström and Loeb can't turn in, Solberg's going to capitalise, Ekström's run wide, Loeb up the inside, but Solberg's up the inside of him, Solberg holds it down into turn 2, Loeb, then Kristoffersson, brilliant job, Hansen drops, Loeb up on 2 wheels, Loeb hit the curb on the inside, maybe the tyre bail as well, so Loeb nearly puts the car over, Hansen's down in 4th place, what a start.
Disaster for Ekström though, wasn't it? It was quite an even start. Loeb had the upper leg on the way down to turn 1. He gave it a little bit of a squeeze, and Ekström then obviously trying to fire it back up the inside. Just broke it, but a little bit too late, and Solberg, after a very bad initial start, comes out in the lead.
Kristoffersson slots straight off into the joker. Ekström goes with him. Ekström looking for clear air. It's going to be behind Kristoffersson. These guys cars got the advantage. Obviously, they're all very, very fast. So here, they've managed to stay out of trouble in turn one. Really, although Loeb very wide in the last corner, and a big, big jump from the 9-time World Rally champion. He's used to that, of course, no problem. Following Petter Solberg. Solberg's arch rival right behind him. Great stuff.
Absolutely. You say they stayed out of trouble in turn one. It was still pretty feisty.
It was, yeah.
We say, you know, it's all about the race timing and in qualifying, but that was pretty feisty stuff. It's one thing saying, well, we need to settle for a good time. They all want to win, obviously. So, but now, you know, these guys will know they need to just get their heads down. Don't need to fight too much. Loeb was really lucky on lap one. He was so high up in the air. He's obviously clipped the curb, then the big tyres. You can see the Peugeots have gone through a few front bumpers and a few front wings this weekend.
Well, a lot of people have over this jump. Watch the landing on the jump. We're on board with Hansen now, up and over, lands it fairly flat, and then you have to set it up on the brakes into the right hander and then the left and through the chicane. They're using the full width of the curve, of course, to try and find as much grip as they can, keep the lap as short as they can. Solberg smokes up the rear wheel, Loeb behind him. In fact, Loeb and Hansen both with wheel arches flapping. Won't make any difference. It's all cosmetic on these cars. We've seen them finish in some terrible states for some brilliant racing. Solberg over the dust. Look at the dust kicking up in the background. Loeb goes into the joker lap. So Loeb is jokering now to get himself out. He's going to come out hopefully in front of Kristoffersson. Is that in response to Kristoffersson maybe catching? He's got enough of a gap.
Well, I think they've just split the strategy there, really, because, you know, if they follow Solberg, they're definitely going to finish second at least behind him. So they might as well try something different. If Solberg makes a mistake, it's giving Loeb a little bit of clear air behind him.
Solberg, I saw yesterday, said they'd had I think it was a turbo leak in the one qualifying session. He's also still got his saw hand. He's having to strap it up in between races. Felt that he could have done a good job, but not quite getting it done yesterday. Hansen's got the fastest lap of the day, a 38.6. So Timmy Hansen is back on the form we saw at the end of last year, but that poor result in Hockenheim isn't going to do him any favours. He goes through the joke lap. Solberg super sideways as he comes over to the checker flag. Loeb comes over the line second. It's Kristoffersson and Hansen racing to the line with Ekstrom. Ekstrom dropping into 5th place. Petter with a 2:43.7. It's not quite as quick as Ekstrom managed in Q3, but it is still very fast indeed. Petter Solberg, 2:43.7. Sebastian Loeb second. Kristoffersson, Hansen and Matthias Ekstrom. That's where they slide in. So Solberg and Loeb going quicker than Backrud. That was a good time by Backrud, to be fair. Duval in 4th. I think that's his best qualifying performance. Kristoffersson 5th. Nittish, Eriksson, Timmy Hansen in 8th. Well, a great time there by Petter Solberg in Q4. Not quite as hot as Matthias Ekstrom was in Q3, but that does complete the qualifying. So let's see how they stand at the end of Q4. Ekstrom with his 3rd TQ in a row. Outstanding by him. Petter Solberg second, then Loeb, Kristoffersson, Duval. Great to see a local driver in the semi-finals. Hansen, Baumanis, Markland. Timosyanov makes it. Kevin Eriksson, Davignay and Rainis Nittish are the top 12. Fantastic. Last didn't make it. Backward, no block. So from qualifying, this is how they will line up into the semi-finals. So the top 16 get championship points. You can see those down the 2 columns, but the bottom 4 there have not made it through to the semis. Only the top 12 make it through. So the odds go to semi-final number 1 and the evens through to semi-final number 2. Well, crowd looking forward to the action. We are too. Apologies for a few technical difficulties there at the start of the semi-finals, but very much looking forward to getting the action underway. Overcast in Belgium as we get ready for semi-final number 1. Andrew Jordan, I'm very much looking forward to this. And we're going to have a quick chat with Neil Cole first of all. Neil is down with the championship leader, Petter Solberg. He's led the championship, in fact, for a year. He took the lead in Hockenheim last year, and he hasn't lost it since then. Will he lose it this weekend?
Petter, you're in semi-final 2. Do you feel like you kind of have a target on your back a little bit, maybe? Because Johan Kristoffersson seems to want revenge for the first 2 races of the year.
Yeah, I don't think so, because it's not it was not anything wrong in that. Okay, Hockenheim, I'm really sorry for that, you know, but I climbed on the wheel on Baumanis when he came in, and then it went launch forward. So, but anyway, we are in the semi now and try to get a clean, nice run, and you will see. Of course, you're always very nervous when you stand on the start line. And I was talking to Loeb earlier also, and I said, you know, you have the same feeling when you do a 60k stage, and it's no problem at all. and compare with standing on the start line, yeah, he said it's absolutely crazy. So, but it's exciting.
It is exciting. It's interesting that you still get nervous. What's the strategy into turn 1 here? Because it can be all won or lost at turn 1.
I have 2-3 scenarios that I have planned, and but you know, Hansen behind you, you know, can be different, and they have also a very good grip on the lines in the back there. So just have to be aware and keep my head cool.
You get a chance to watch your potential rivals for the final race in Semi 1. Who's your money on? You've got former rally rivals Loeb and Duval in this one.
Well, I think, you know, Ekström has shown very good performance, really impressive, and I think Ekström will take this. Loeb get second if he's coming in good enough into the first corner. But okay, Duval maybe can get second here.
Good luck in your semi.
Thank you.
Well, interesting there from Petter Solberg, saying that both him and Loeb said that it's totally different. You know, being on the start line of a rally stage is nowhere near as nerve-wracking as being on the start line of a rallycross race.
It's funny to hear, really, isn't it, with everything they've achieved, and Sebastian Loeb, 9-time world champion, to say they still get nervous. But I suppose, you know, they're competitors, they want to win, and that's normally what the nerves are, is wanting to do well. It's wanting to succeed and win.
There's another element too, is there in a rally stage you're all on your own. When you're on the grid, there's 5 other drivers who can make a difference, let's say, down into turn 1. Well, the cars are rolling up to the grid for semi-final number 1. Let's see how they line up. On the front row, Matthias Ekström with his 3rd TQ in a row, and then Sebastian Loeb with his best qualifying performance of the year. Francois Duval and Yanis Baumanis are row 2. Duval, the local driver. Timothy Timosyanov, the Team Austria teammate of Baumanis, is in, as is Davy Genet. This should be exciting. Ekström versus Loeb. Very sensible, I'm sure, on the front row. Francois Duval, not a lot to lose, coming from that position on the grid. And then Baumanis and Timosyanov. Here we go. Oh, Tim has jumped the start. Tim has jumped the start. So you could see him at the back. Timmer went, the ready-to-race light comes on, and drivers are looking for a change in the lights, Andrew.
Absolutely, and you know, it sounds pretty obvious, you go when you see the green, but when you've got that car fully loaded up on the clutch, flat on the throttle with the anti-lag system popping and banging, you're literally just looking at that light system for something to move. And obviously it's the new system this year, so it's not a guy aside the track with a ready-to-race board, it's all automated up on the screen. So that's really unfortunate, because Timojanov's been doing really well this weekend. He's been back on form, a bit unlucky today, but yesterday he was on absolutely top form.
Unlucky Timmer.
This just adds to the nerves, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, it does, doesn't it?
You've just had the car fully ready to go, and then it's reset. Obviously, everything's got a little bit hotter. The tyres will have cooled a little bit, so it's
Can't reset the
all this
adrenaline
just starts
either,
playing on the mind a bit more.
Another shot of adrenaline, please. And another chance to start the semi-final. Here we go. Semi-final 1. A really, really, really long hole. Great start by Duval on road 2, but Loeb looks to have hooked it up as well. Baumanis moves across the inside. Baumanis having a look at the inside. Duval. Loeb's going to try and go around the outside of Ekström, but Ekström's got this on the way down to turn 2. Ekström, Loeb, Genet from the back row. I thought he got it done. He hasn't. Genet's been punted off. So Genet in a cloud of dirt. It's Ekström from Loeb from Baumanis, and then Duval and Timosyanov.
Perfect stuff from Loeb and Ekström. Real sensible stuff. Loeb got the whole strut out of the start line, but gave Ekström enough room. He knows to play the long game. He doesn't want to be fighting too much and let someone up the inside, so absolutely perfect stuff from those two.
Timosyanov is in P5. I wonder if he might take a joker lap straight under. He comes out the dust cloud, and I think Duval there. Duval was almost off. Well, he was way offline.
You can tell a lot of this is the dust. You know, look at the dust that's hanging in the air, a little bit of it kicking up. But remember, Ekström's got those new front tyres on, so that's going to give him increased grip. Sebastian Loeb is apparently on scrubbed used tyres, so whether he's saving all 4 new tyres for the final or whether he's already used them, we don't know. But expect Ekström just to pull away a little bit, a couple of tenths each lap, I would think.
Ekström on a big push, stamping his authority on this championship at the minute. I think he could have done a great job in Portugal. He hadn't been fired off. Matthias Ekström on board with him now. Great stuff.
really impressive. He just carries the speed and a little tuck on the handbrake. He's not a big fan of using the handbrake. He believes he should be able to get the car to turn. That's Timmer. So Timmer into the Joker lap. But Ekström did a really quick first lap. He's in the 39 dead, so that's right up with the quick laps of the weekend.
Duval slots in behind Timozyanov, so Timozyanov has managed to get one of his 2 Joker laps done. Duval's jokered as well, so if Duval stays there, he'll get past Timmer. But it's the 3 in front who haven't jokered yet. We'll be looking to gap these 3 and try to get the job done. Just flat out now, do you think they'll all go towards the end of the race?
I think so. You can't back off. You know, at this sort of level, there's so many good guys, you can't afford to back off.
Look at the dust, the visibility up there is really, really hard. Out of the dust out comes Balmanis. Balmanis goes into the joke lap now. If he comes out in front of Timozyanov, Balmanis has pretty much booked himself a slot in the final. So Balmanis comes out, it's his teammate Timozyanov trying to drag him down the straight, but he can't. So Balmanis jokers, and Timozyanov, you can see his joker once, but he's still got a cross because remember, he's got a penalty joker from that jump start.
I think Balmanis has been really, really impressive this year. Super 1600 champion last year. Again, just a credit to the feeder categories. What sort of level you can come out of those and be at in supercars. So he's done a fantastic job over the first 3 rounds so far.
Well, we're hearing that Balmanis might have been given some kind of a penalty, so we'll come back to you about that. But we're hearing Balmanis, a black flag for Balmanis. Into the joker lap goes Loeb, so Loeb is into the joker lap. Balmanis has been given a black flag. We haven't seen anything that would have been pushing in the first corner. Apparently sounds a bit harsh.
Yeah, I didn't see, I've seen something probably a bit more aggressive so far through the weekend. We were focusing on the guys right at the front.
Genet possibly down the hill, that was in the background for us. We were looking, well, we'll see later on. We'll have a look back at the action after the race, but Balmanis is continuing this one. Still a great driver, okay, the stewards have made a decision.
That's going to bring Duval up into 3rd then at his home event, so that's going to be a great story. The home crowds have been fantastically loud for him, so that's going to be...
Loeb, slow down, Loeb's got a problem. Sebastian Loeb, sorry Andrew, Sebastian Loeb has pulled over at the side of the track. Sebastian Loeb has a problem. Oh no, you see, it's Genet, is it? It's Genet who's pulled over? One of the two persons.
They've both got a French flag on the top of the car. That's Genet. Look at the commentary box. Yeah, Loeb's still going, but Ekström's got a huge lead. He's got 4.6 seconds, so that's more than enough. So Ekström's spotters will be on the radio telling him he's got enough. Keep it neat and tidy. Obviously, he won't relax too much because he needs to get the end. He's got to do his joker on this lap. But he is continuing to be the guy to beat.
So at the minute the order is Ekström, Loeb, Balmanis. Loeb still in, ignore me. French flag from a distance, they look fairly similar. On board again with Ekström now. Great start.
Pull on the handbrake, gets the car rotating nice and early. A bit of a short shift early, before he got to the apex. That's to get the revs a little bit lower down, but great win.
Win then for Ekström in semi-final number 1. Sebastian Loeb follows him over the line to book his slot into the final. Balmanis is going to come over the line in 3rd place, but the stewards are saying black flag for him, which will see Duval go through in P3. Up in the spotters tower, there they are looking down at the various different feeds they've got. Crowd enjoyed that, and they'll be pleased. Of course, they probably won't know, the crowd won't know that Duval's gone through. Off the line, down to... Let's have a look then for Balmanis in the background. Balmanis up the inside.
Yeah, Balmanis is in the back of Duval a little bit there, which... I think down the hill, I think that's one of those things, but whether it's for pushing Duval wide, which then kind of started all that, I still think we've seen more aggressive driving so far this weekend at Turn 1.
Certainly a lot more aggressive earlier on in the year, let's say, and even last year, but there you go. I mean, they have to make a decision under a lot of pressure. It's not a job that I would like being a steward, I have to say. So this was Genet pulling over. My bad. I say thought it was Loeb. Saw Ekström in the shot. And Loeb, of course, coming through in the background. So Genet must have had quite a problem because he was a long way back by then already, which, of course, will probably be from that contact on the way down the hill. Ekström, though, holding on to the checker flag. Loeb doing well as well. So Loeb goes through to the final. Ekström, Loeb and Duval do go through. Timozyanov and David Genet are out, along with Yannis Balmanis as well. Well, we're going to go and have a chat with Neil Cole. Let's see who he's with.
You guys and Matthias have put yourselves in the perfect position for the final.
Yes, definitely. It's the best position you can have to start final. So it's looking good so far. We will continue pushing to try to win this race weekend.
Well done. Good luck.
Thank you.
Well done indeed. Brilliant drive. On then to semi-final number 2. We'll get a lineup and let you know. Here they are, Petter Solberg with Johan Kristoffersson next to him. Row 2, Timmy Hansen and Anton Markland. And row 3, Kevin Eriksson and Reinis Nittisch. Good to see Nittisch through to the semi-finals in the Seat Ibiza. Green flag, thumbs up from the marshals. How sensible are these guys going to keep it on the way down into turn 1? Solberg will be desperate to get this hooked up. Hansen, we know, can be very aggressive in turn 1, ready to race. Hansen jumps the start. Hansen jumps the start, so Hansen did exactly what Timosyanov did.
Yeah, unfortunate for him. Look, you can see he's disappointed there. He knows that's his chance of getting through to the final. Taking a big blow, to be honest. He's got to take a second joker lap. That's the second penalty. But I thought it was a great question from Neil Cole asking Petter about Kristoffersson, because they've had a couple of run-ins. Petter seems a bit wary about that, and he also said about Timmy being behind him. So it sounds like Petter's a little bit worried about turn 1, but we know that if he gets through turn 1 cleanly, he's got very good pace.
Little bit more space, of course, on the way down to turn 1 with a grid start rather than a line start. Everybody been lined up again. Nittisch there being pushed back slightly as well. That was Solberg's spotting team in the tower. Restart time for semi-final number 2. Nittisch has jumped the start. They are all jumping the start. We've seen the jump start system, the start system this year is random. So the start system this year has a gap of random gaps, so the drivers cannot learn how it happens. But I think we have seen quite long ones this weekend.
We've seen some long holds, but then the problem now is everyone's clutches are going to get getting hotter and hotter, because on the start line, yes, you've got your foot on the clutch, but as the ready to race board comes up and then goes down, you load in the clutch up against the handbrake, so you put in a huge amount of temperature into the clutch. And now they've had 2 jump starts, so that's going to be getting hotter, so the bite point then varies. So it's it not only puts a bit more strain on the drivers with their nerves, but also on the cars.
600 horsepower and just a very small competition clutch on the line. We have seen people, haven't we, holding it desperately on the handbrake with the car creeping towards that 12 centimetres before it hits the jump start marker. But both those two are quite significant, and Nittisch now gets a double joker as well. So should Nittisch or Hansen jump the start again, it's an immediate disqualification. So they will be very, very careful not to do so. And it does now rather mean, of course, that there's 3 out of 4 people are going to go through. I mean, Hansen and Nittisch, Hansen in particular has the pace. Remember Solberg and the whole double joker jump start still make the final here. Last year, I think it was. You know, it's doable. It is doable, especially if there's a bit of action in turn 1.
But I think Petter was starting from the front there, so you know, he's got a lot to do. Timmy has. It is doable. It depends what happens to all the other guys.
A third restart for semi-final number 2. This time they're away. Solberg looked a bit sideways at the rear. Kristoffersson's alongside him. Hansen is doing well. And the door being closed across. Markland moving in on Hansen. Hansen's on the inside. Hansen a bit too sideways. Hansen looks like he's going to spin over the crest. Drops down to 6th place. That's a disaster. Reinis Nittisch has only just passed us in the commentary position, so a problem for the Ibiza on the line. But out front, it's Solberg from Kristoffersson, and Kristoffersson's teammate Markland right behind him.
Petter Solberg will be a little bit relieved now. He got through turn 1. That was his worry. Not sure what happened to Timmy. We've seen quite a few people do that with a broken drive shaft, but he looks to be going at good pace now. So whether he just got the car a bit too much throttle on with a lot of lock on, but now we'll see what Petter can do in free air.
Hansen was going to go for the joker lap there, but decided against it because Eriksson went in front of him. So Hansen has decided that he's got the pace of Eriksson, slots into the standard lap and carries on. And that is a wonderful shot, showing you all the Belgian fans here watching the action in semi-final.
From Solberg, that's a really quick lap off the start. Wow. 43.2. The quickest we'd seen earlier was, I think, it was a 43.5 from Matthias Ekström. But in third, Anton Markland, he's had a really good weekend. We were chatting to him earlier about the car. He's getting more at home in this Kristoffersson car. They've kind of merged together, haven't they? So he's got a good target in front to chase, hasn't he, in Johan Kristoffersson.
I'd like to see Markland make it through to the final. It'd be fantastic. They say Timmy, I reckon, will go to the joker here, and he does because he's catching up with Markland. So Timmy into the first of his 2 jokers. Nittisch has been already, and Eriksson's been already as well. So Timmy comes out in front of Eriksson. That is a great lap from Hansen, because that means he's jokered and can go again. Maybe if he can gap like that again, then he could do a second joke and remain in front, but there's still more cars in front of him.
Timmy looks absolutely on it. He used all the road and then a really big jump, so they'll be on to him, telling him to push as hard as he can to try and get that margin up. But, you know, I think the chances of getting through to the final are pretty slim.
Solberg is on scrub tyres. We know Kristoffersson and Hansen are on new tyres behind, but Solberg's absolutely flying on scrub tyres. So do you think he's saving a set as well? Or, you know, it's difficult with the tactics. They're quite secretive about it.
Yeah, they might say they're scrubbed, but he might have literally just scrubbed them and took the shine off them in practice. We don't know. So we don't know the exact tyre usage, whether he's got any left. We know in either heat 3 or 4 he used some new ones there. So we'll see if he's got some saved up, like Matthias Ekström has for the final.
Ekström saving a set, and was it Loeb as well? It was Loeb who was using scrubbed in semi-final 1-2 as well. So different tactics from the drivers, trying desperately to try and find the margin that they need. At the minute, Solberg, Kristoffersson and Markland haven't jokered behind them. Nitish has done both his jokers for the jump start. There's Solberg on the standard lap. Markland being gapped a bit. Markland goes now, and is this to cover off the guys behind him? So Markland into the joker lap. The one he really needs to watch out for is Kevin Eriksson in 4th. Hansen doesn't matter. Markland's got to get in front of Eriksson, and he does. So Markland in front of Eriksson. Those guys are going to be racing for the last slot in the semi because Hansen has his penalty joker still to do.
But out front, Solberg's going very quickly. Lap times are a little bit quicker than Ekström was, so his lap pace is very good. He's been very consistent with it also.
I'd quite like to see Kristoffersson through to the final with Solberg and Ekström. Those are my guys who I think can fight for this. It's a bit more open. The start of last season, Solberg really handed it to everyone for a few events, and that gave him that gap that allowed the championship to go well. Kristoffersson off into the joker lap now. Early on the handbrake, but look at that on the gas super early.
We walked down there, didn't we, earlier, and it's actually a lot tighter than it looks on TV. So by rotating the car so early like that, you could see the wheels were literally straight for him to accelerate. The last thing you want to do is get in there with a bit of understeer, have a lot of steering lock on. You're not going to accelerate as well.
Hansen pushing really, really hard. He has to joker again at the end of this lap, and he has to come out in front of Anton Markland when he does. Markland is having a fight with Kevin Eriksson behind him, so I think really the only hope for Hansen here is if Eriksson can hassle Markland enough that those two hold each other up, maybe Hansen can gap them, but I don't think he can. It doesn't look like enough. Watching the background here, this is what's crucial. Solberg into the joke lap. Solberg and Kristoffersson are going to race the line, but Solberg's going to take it. Hansen's wide. Hansen's wide on his penalty joke lap. Solberg goes through. Kristoffersson too. It's a race to the line for the final slot, and Hansen just misses out. Anton Markland qualifies. And where's Kevin Eriksson gone? Because Kevin Eriksson disappeared off the back of that fight. He's coming down the finish straight now. We can see from the competition. There he is. And Nitish too. So Eriksson must have made a mistake on the last one. 2 seconds faster. Semi-final 2, Andrew Jordan was pointing out, well, 1.5 seconds faster than semi-final 1. So Solberg is flying. Kristoffersson in second. Markland goes through to the final 2. Hansen, Eriksson and Nitish are out.
This is on board with Hansen, isn't it? You can see Solberg gets a really good launch. Kristoffersson tries to sit it out around the outside. They give each other enough room, but this is Timmy. I think he got a little tap, or he clipped the tyres maybe, or got a tap. That's what really rotated the car around.
Eriksson launched the car there over the curbs. The difference between just dabbing the curb and having a really big launch, we've seen a few people judge it just wrong. Look at that. That's classic Solberg, isn't it?
He was on a mission. We've got ourselves a race, I think, in the final, haven't we?
Haven't we just? Ekström's been doing a brilliant job, but Solberg's been saying, I think I can do it. He always says he thinks he can do it, and there's always been a little problem if he's not on the pace, but maybe Solberg's got that little bit of pace in the bag. Eric Fahren, Sebastian Loeb's spotter, directing Loeb out, heading towards the grid for the final. Well, the crowd are on their feet, and I'm not surprised. They've seen a couple of decent semi-finals. Not quite the carnage that we saw in Hockenheim last weekend, but still some very, very committed driving. Hansen as well, if it hadn't been for that jump start, I think Hansen would have been on the pace and in the mix, but he's not. He's out. So we've got Ekström headed towards the grid.
You've really got to give a good shout out to the teams. They don't have very long at all to get the car prepped. There's only limited things they can do in the time they've got between the semi-final and the final. So they earn their money in that sort of time.
They do indeed. Just a very, very short re-prep. Cold and windy conditions. No rain so far. I wouldn't say no to a bit of rain just before the final. Matthias Ekström is down getting ready for the final. He's with Hal Ridge. and we can hear from him now.
Matthias, great drive in the semi-final, and you were using new front tyres. Do you have new front tyres for the final as well?
Yeah, we have 2 left, so we'll go with the front from the semi on the rear and put news on the front. So we tried to keep the best for last, and now it's when it's time with playing with the big boys.
And the start here, how difficult will it be in the first corner?
Yeah, I normally start is always difficult, but the guys around me, which I think is Pettet and Sebastian Loeb, I only have to say 12 World Championship titles, and I think they know how to race with respect. That's why it's an honor to be racing against them, and I'm pretty sure they will be fair, and if they're not, I will be surprised. But look forward to a fair fight against the guys.
Thank you.
Matthias Ekström happy to be on the grid with Loeb and Solberg. We can have a look back at some starts ahead, of course, of the start heading into the final. 2 wins, round 3 of the World Rallycross Championship. So these, of course, are line starts, not quite so hard, sorry, a bit harder than a grid start. Backward and block, so Timozianov, there's a fair bit of contact. Doran with the spin.
Yeah, we saw that with Doran. You can see the drive shaft at the front of his car, so he had that twice. He clipped the first time he clipped the tyres and the drive shaft came out. Don't know if he did there, but backward was going really well, and the new Focus RS is really impressive.
Nitish here with a gap on the outside. We saw Martin get a bad start. Nitish had that luxury of a bit of space, and that's what they've got, of course, the luxury of a bit of space. But Heikkinen outbraked himself.
Yeah, and we were down there this morning, and it still amazes me. I've watched these cars for quite a while, but the load they go through off the start, they're completely stationary, loaded up against the handbrake, 600 horsepower, and they just drop the clutch. And it amazes me how well the cars stand up to that.
Kristoffersen down at refuel. They'll be taking on just enough juice to not add too much weight, but enough to get to the end of the race. Kristoffersen getting ready to head towards his slot in the final. The crowd standing up for the end of the weekend. We often see that. They just start to get that little bit edgy, as I'm feeling, ahead of the final. We know the final's going to be a great race. Ekström, Loeb, Solberg, Duval. I wonder who the local fans will be cheering for.
I wonder.
Duval, maybe. Good to be fair, good to see Duval has made it through to the final. So last couple of years he's been here. He's very fast. We all know he's very fast, but he hasn't got the job done. And this weekend he has. So through to the final is a brilliant result for him. Sebastian Loeb having a little sip of water down there. And in fact, Neil's down there and has managed to grab hold of Sebastian. And we can have a quick chat with the WRC legend ahead of another final in the World Rallycross Championship.
Sebastian, an excellent weekend so far, very good semi-final, and you find yourself right at the sharp end in the final. What's the strategy into turn 1?
I don't know. I don't have any strategy. It's very rough in the turn 1, so trying to keep out of the troubles in the turn 1, not to go to finish the first corner in the 5th place, trying to keep my position or to win one maybe, but and then to push.
Anyone you're more worried about, Matthias or Pettet?
Both are in front, so I would say both.
Good luck, thank you.
That's very honest, isn't it, from Lowe? Very honest indeed. Which one are you worried about? I'm worried about both of them. They're in front of me. So I'm impressed with Lowe, but I have to say, I think, you know, some people obviously will have expected him to come in and just smash it and destroy everyone, but that's not the way this is. This is a world championship.
I think that would be quite naive to look at it like that, if I'm honest. Yes, he's won a huge amount and he's super successful, but you're up against some of the top guys in the world at the top of their game in this discipline. He doesn't know the circuit, so I think if anyone thought he was going to come in and wipe the floor with anyone, it would be a silly way to look at it.
Definitely.
But, as I say, the first 2 rounds, he's gone about it quietly, but I think he's actually quite not worrying for the other guys, but that he's at this level already in his third event.
Took Solberg, didn't it? If you remember, he didn't win at all in the European Championship 2030. A lot of that was to do with developing the car, and Loeb is jumping into a car which we know is developed already, but cars, as I say, just at the back of the grid.
An interesting thing Matthias Ekström said, that they're putting the fresh front tyres from the semi-final on the rear and some fresh ones on the front, so again they'll be thinking about revs for the start because they've got warm tyres on now, so they'll have to adjust that a little bit, so something else for the driver and team to think about.
Lots and lots indeed. Neil's got Pettet Solberg, let's hear from him.
So Pettet, you've got Sebastian Loeb on this side, Matthias Ekström on this side, and you were just having a little discussion. Was it some kind of strategy?
Not at all, you know. I think
I think just everybody giving credit to each other, but you know, professional driving, clean, and of course we said also that it's easy to be unlucky, you know. But most of the time we try to be as professional as possible, you know.
So what do you think of the lineup of this final? Because it's pretty heavyweight, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be hard, and you know, it's like many other races, you know, it's so many things that can happen, but it's good fun to be in the final always, so I'm looking forward to it.
So look forward to a good clean fight between three of you.
Solberg looking a bit nervous. Not surprising, really. Hal Ridge has managed to go and find Timmy Hansen, who of course had a bit of a shocker in his semi-final. Let's hear it from him.
Timmy, 2 jump starts, you tried your hardest, but difficult semi-final for you.
Yeah, difficult. I think I was ready too early, so I went when the ready to race sign went off, so it was my mistake there. Afterwards, I hit the tire and I lost the first corner and the steering was bent, so it was difficult. I was pushing so it tastes blood in my mouth, but it was not enough.
And how do you think Sebastian can do in the final here?
Sebastian's been really quick all weekend. And he's got fresh tires, a good car, so he can do very well. I'll cross my fingers for him.
Thank you.
Timmy hoping then for a good result for Sebastian Loeb. Loeb caught out there by the camera, turned around, it was right there on his shoulder, wondered who it was us watching as always. Him and Matthias.
It's interesting what Solberg said, that the top 3 have been chatting, and before one of the semi-finals I said, I think this could kick off a little bit at turn 1. I'd be now very surprised if it did kick off. I might eat my words.
Really?
But I think, you know, they're playing the long game. They're in it for the championship. Petter's won 2 championships. He knows, yes, he wants to, but he doesn't have to win all the races. Matthias also is wanting to win the championship, as is Sebastian. So I think they'll be pretty sensible. They know they've got to get through the first corner. But look, they're pretty close now. They might be a little bit closer come turn 1, I think.
Still chatting away. They can make as many plans as they want, of course. Turn 1, we'll have to wait and see if anything's different. Right, in the meantime, we can have a little look back at Yannis Balmanis. So you might remember Balmanis was excluded from his semi-final, having finished 3rd. So on board with Balmanis now. Andrew Jordan, talk us through this.
So he looks at the inside, look, a bit of contact, and he kept in the back, didn't he? That's I would think that's what he's got in trouble for, because that down the hill there was nothing he could really do about Genet.
No, you can't even see
quite heavy contact in the back of Duval. If I was Duval, I'd be kicking off a little bit about that, because he's got it stopped. You know, Duval isn't running to the cars in front, and there's just a couple too many hits, I think.
Duval also being run, of course, by Andreas Eriksson, who won't be shy of going and have a little word with the stewards.
I wouldn't think so, no.
Neil Cole is down with Francois Duval as he prepares for his first World RX final.
Francois, it's a dream story. You're in the final in Belgium at home. What can you do?
Yes, I am very happy. I am very surprised, but it's quite good condition. A lot of dust on the joker, but I stay on the road. He's quite happy. I hope no problem now.
Good luck. Thank you.
Duval ready to go. We can have one more chat ahead of the final. Hal Ridge has managed to get hold of Johan Kristoffersson, so let's hear it from Johan now.
Johan, what can you do from the second row here?
Yeah, we will see. I mean, we had a pretty good start now in the semi-final too, so I mean, I will try to survive the first corner, and then I will just push as much as I can, and the podium will be fantastic.
Thank you.
There we are. Kristoffersson saying a podium would be fantastic, so he'd be happy with that. Solberg doing up the helmet. Always used to do the helmet up before the gloves. Do it, you know, when you put them on the wrong way around, you put the gloves on first, and you realise you haven't done the helmet up. It's no good, is it? You need to do it the other way around.
Don't get me started on rituals, mate.
Especially with seams on the outside of the gloves, they definitely get caught, don't they? So some of your tweets and mentions at the bottom of the screen there. Do get in touch. Hashtag, as always, is World RX. EuroRX as well, of course. European Rallycross Championship for Supercars started this weekend. You can see it on Tuesday nights after the event. It should be available around 7 p.m. on the FIA World Rallycross Championship's YouTube page. Don't forget as well, you can play Fantasy Rallycross. The entries are open for Lydden Hill. The prize there will be a T-shirt signed by Solberg, Block, Backerud and Liams. Great fun. Choose your team and see if you can get the right drivers, get the most points. Highest point scorer this weekend is this man, Matthias Ekström. You're looking at him, but the top pick was Petter Solberg. So that is at fantasy.fiaworldrallycross.com. Markland, great job by him to make it. Tommy Christopherson wandering off the grid down there. You can see Solberg's crew. Look at the bonnet on Solberg's car. Looks as though it's damaged. It's not. It's just so thin that it barely supports its own weight. You know, the guys just putting the weight in the cars that they need to meet the minimum weight regulations. The air horns are starting to go off. I'm starting to get a little bit tingly ahead of this one. The crowd we can hear up behind to the left of the Ion Spotters Tower. They're all getting ready. Me and Andrew Jordan are pacing around from left to right. There's just that tension ahead of the final. I love it too.
You know, the feeling these guys have got on the grid, there's huge anticipation, obviously. And, you know, as we said, they're going to play the long game and they want to get through cleanly, but 6 cars accelerating 0-60 in just under 2 seconds. What's not to get excited about?
What's not to like? What's not to like? So they'll all be trying to make sure they focus. Don't do anything silly. Don't make a jump start like we've seen some of the other drivers do. Last car pulling up to the back of the grid. Here is the lineup for the final for round 3 of the FIA World Rallycross Championship. Matthias Ekström, TQ, and on pole for the final, Petter Solberg, the world champion, alongside him. The legend, 9 times world rally champion Sebastian Loeb on row 2 with Johan Kristoffersson alongside. And bringing up the rear, another ex-WRC driver, Francois Duval, and Anton Markland in great company here. Well done, Anton. Brilliant performance to get to the final. Oh, I can't wait for this. I really can't. Loeb, Solberg, Kristoffersson and Ekström on the front 2 rows. Thumbs up. Ready to race, lights come on. Revs rise, anti-lag on. Green light and we're underway. Wasn't a great start by Loeb. Kristoffersson had to dip the clutch as well on the outside. Francois Duval moves to the inside, almost hits the wall. Markland from the back row, all the way around the outside. That's a brilliant start by Markland. Markland up the second. And now Solberg's being hassled by Loeb in the background, but Matthias Ekström out in front. So Ekström, Markland up to second.
Turn 1 favours the brave and he sat it out around the outside. Not quite sure what happened with Solberg, because there was a little touch of him in the rear quarter of Ekström. Whether he clipped the tyres or he just backed it up to keep it neat and tidy, I don't know.
Kristoffersson's gone as well. In the back of that shot, you may have seen Kristoffersson is on a very go-slow on the straight at the back of the circuit. So Solberg straight to Joker, not surprised, wants to release himself from Markland. Markland a bit sideways on the exit, and I think that's Duval that's gone into the Joker lap as well.
I wouldn't mind betting Kristoffersson broke something off the line, because as he let the clutch out, the car really moved to one side, but Ekström head down, eyes forward. Can he get gone from there, from Markland behind?
Well, I think he fancies his chances from here. Solberg, I think, has joked earlier because he wants a bit of space. Johan Kristoffersson wins the Monster Energy Supercharger Award. Was first into the first corner. I don't think he was, actually. I think that might be incorrect. I think it was either going to be Markland or Ekström.
Markland's going with Ekström. He went in a little bit hot there. He's run wide.
Oh, Markland off. Markland is off. So Markland has a spin and he's held up Solberg in the background there. So Solberg's been held up. That's a disaster for Anton. What a shame. So Anton's going to go to the Joker because that lap is scrap effectively anyway. Sideways in the Joker. Markland driving really well. It's a shame, but there you go.
Huge shame, but that might have just helped Matthias Ekström a little bit, because when he rejoined onto the circuit, he came on in front of Petter. Ekström's got Kristoffersson going ahead of him slowly, so I wonder if there would have been a conversation. Yeah, he's out the way. I was going to say, I wonder if Kristoffersson spotter onto him. Get out the way, don't hold up the leader.
Ekström with a little lift of the throttle up, braking hard, keeping the car tight in on that wall. It's a concrete wall on the inside of the corner. You can see Loeb going around the background there. A couple of people have clipped it, but you really don't want to. And Loeb's the danger man. Look at the graphic, top left of your screen. Ekström and Loeb are the guys who haven't jokered. Solberg, Duval and Markland have.
Ekström's done the fastest lap of the weekend so far with a 38.4, then followed up by a 38.5. Loeb's going just as quick on that lap. Solberg's dropping about a tenth or two a lap, so I would think Ekström's guys might run him towards the end, but if I was in the car and I was in the lead, I'd want to get the Joker out of the way so you know it's done.
Yeah, the nerves, because we saw the man in second place, the World Rally Championship legend Sebastian Loeb yesterday on for the overnight TQ and made a mistake. Anyone can make a mistake. The Joker lap's covered in dirt. They only get to do it once. And look how clean the standard lap is. You've got to judge that just right. Loeb knows he can't do anything about Ekström with the Joker, so he might as well just sit sit it out. It's going to be about whether or not Solberg can get on over Loeb, which he'd love to do.
Look at Markland right behind Duval. He's looking to get at the inside. Duval's got that covered.
Yeah, I think Duval's got a problem. I wonder if Duval's got a little problem because Markland is out dragging him down the straight. And Markland's up the inside of Duval. Great job, Anton Markland, really driving very well this weekend. Anton Markland makes a clean pass at the end of the straight to make up that little mistake earlier on. He'd be really disappointed about that, and it is. It's a puncture for Duval, so a rear left puncture for Duval. Here's that Joker lap split at the bottom, so have a look down. Solberg has Joker and Loeb hasn't. The difference you can see, and they're not going to be able to get past, so...
Ekstrom going consistently quicker, 38.4, 38.5, 38.5, so followed by 38.6, so he's on an absolute mission, and you've got to trust your spotters. You know, they're getting more information than you are in the car, so you've got to trust that they'll be telling him you're pulling away, just keep doing what you're doing.
Absolutely flying. You can hear the wastegate chattering as he lifts off the throttle down at the back. He's on his last lap. A word about Ekstrom, Andrew, you know, you've got to know him quite well recently.
I sat in with him not so long ago at a test in Sweden, and it was one of the most impressive things I've witnessed actually in motorsport. Very, very impressive.
Into the Joker lap, and this is very, very impressive as well. He won last weekend in Hockenheim. Matthias Ekstrom has had 3 TQs, and now he's had 2 wins. It's Ekstrom that wins in Belgium. Second is Sebastian Loeb, and third place goes to Petter Solberg, the 2 WRC legends. Ekstrom pitches the car on board into a donut. Fantastic job by him. Markland comes across the line in 4th place. Ekstrom the winner though, and Duval coming across the line now. We can see from the commentary position, you can see there Ekstrom's team. Ekstrom is making this look easy. It isn't, but he's making it look easy.
He is, 2.5 seconds. He looks pretty relaxed. He's just won his second in a row. I'd be going pretty mental in the car, I think.
Matthias Ekstrom with the win. Sebastian Loeb second. Solberg third. Then it's Markland, Duval and Kristoffersson. What a brilliant, brilliant drive by Ekstrom. So 3 TQs in a row, 2 wins in a row. Neil Cole's with his spotters. I wonder what Matthias had for breakfast.
Congratulations. Even you were kind of shaking your head. It was so fast, but so consistent all the way through that race.
Yes, exactly. I mean, the start was really good, you know, and then he could control the pace, the car behind, and everything went well till the finish line. So we are really, really happy. This is good. It's 2 in a row now as, since Hockenheim, so it's perfect. We have to continue like that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I mean, I joke about what he's had for breakfast, but you know, you have to. It's like someone's flicked a switch, and this is dominant.
Let's have a look at Markland all the way around the outside. Really gutted for Anton, if I'm honest, because he was going with Matthias. He was really pushing hard and going with Matthias.
It might be Markland that won the Monster Energy Supercharger Award down into turn 1 because he's come from the back row. I mean, that's outrageous.
So I think this is it. Let's keep an eye on the VW behind. He catches the bump there, gets it understeering a little bit, carries a bit too much speed in. So really unlucky. He'll be kicking himself about that.
I think that could have been a podium there for Markland. I really do. It was a great drive. Ekstrom over the crest. Look at that, landing absolutely beautifully. He's on a flyer. Ekstrom is on an absolute flyer at the minute. Through the Joker lap, every inch of the track. Loeb behind him. Loeb and Solberg with a cheeky little race towards the end there, but it was Loeb that got the better. So that's best result for Loeb as well, of course. So Sebastian Loeb with a 2nd place. He'll be very, very pleased with that, I am sure. The crowd enjoying all the action. On board with Ekstrom as he heads back towards the paddock and, of course, towards the podium. He'll be taking his car. I think he's heading into the weighing scales, in fact, so you might see Ekstrom just bump up onto the scales. There it is. So they're pushing the car forward. This was where Hansen, of course, came unstuck last weekend when the car was underweight. I'm sure that won't be the case with Ekstrom. That was emergency repairs, of course. Ekstrom just checking. He's all nervous. Thumbs up that everything's okay. So he's happy. Great to see the end of race process here. You know, it's not just jump on the podium, isn't ever a fantastic time spraying champagne. There's a bit more to it than that. We're going to have a look back at the action from the start. So let's watch for Chris Markland on the outside. Watch this. This is totally undramatic. Everybody moves to the inside, look, and gets caught up. And Markland he's flown round them.
Yeah, that's what happened with Solberg. There was a little bit of contact with Sebastian Loeb, and then it nearly turned Solberg into the tyre. So I wonder what had happened, because he was right up under Ekstrom's rear wing. So that gave Markland the opportunity to cut back into 2nd.
All by now. We could see Deval had already made, and you can see Kristoffersen in the background. That was when I spotted Kristoffersen was going slowly. There's Ekstrom. There is the man. 2 fingers in the air there, and it's 2 wins in a row. There's the team. They all work really hard, and let's not forget, this is a back-to-back, which is really hard. It's really hard for everyone in the paddock, but to hold that kind of form, 2 TQs and 2 wins in a week, what a mega result.
And it was a 1-2 last week as well, so it makes it even more impressive. But he was on the roof celebrating. It's the bonus of owning the race car, isn't it? You can jump on the roof.
You can indeed. You can indeed. Solberg, of course, used to jump up and down the roof on a regular basis till the scrutineers told me he'd have to change it. Hasn't been quite so enthusiastic about roof jumping since. It's lovely slow motion stuff from the final. Solberg looks sideways over the jump, just holding on to it. Markand, what a great start by Markand. I'm a bit disappointed for him, but I'm also really impressed. Yeah, let's not, one mistake in the final, great qualifying performance from him, makes it through to the final, and then what a fantastic start, capitalised on that brilliant hook up for the grip to get the car off the line and down into turn 1 first. Ekstrom up in the hairpin. Loeb, just a tiny bit of left foot brake there. You can only imagine, can't you, the car control that guy has got after the years of wins. But nobody could get near Ekstrom. Not even a 9-time world champion on an absolute flyer. Crowd are hanging around.
Matthias, you made that look so easy, but it was super fast, super consistent, and a 2nd win in a row. Well done.
I'm so happy. It's just so demanding to do this because the adrenaline shock from my body is pretty high, and the car was perfect all weekend long. Did one mistake in Q4 into turn 1 with Loeb, which I apologize for, but the rest was really perfect, and I'm so happy because the car drives so wonderful. And my guys, they're working day and night for this, and it feels a bit surreal. First Hockenheim and now make it back-to-back here and score maximum points, so it's really crazy. And I mean, I know the other guys are pushing, we're also pushing, but I feel completely exhausted and I can't hardly not breathe.
But the car hardly seemed to touch the ground. It was just so strong.
It was brilliant all the time, and we spent so much effort to make the starts good. But by coincidence, I think also the lap times improved by doing this. So we are so happy that we are able to run up front. Still, the season is long, but it's nice to have 3 good results to start off the year.
Congratulations, thank you.
Thanks.
Whole team working hard, and they've got some brilliant results from it. Let's see the fruits of those results. Here are the Drivers' Championship standings after round 3. Matthias Ekstrom takes the lead in the championship, knocking Petter Solberg off the top spot for the first time in a year. Solberg down to 2nd. It's Kristoffersen up to 3rd. It's a little gap to those top 2. Loeb's up to 4th, Heikkinen down to 5th, Larsen down to 6th, Kevin Eriksson is up to 7th, and Backward is down to 8th.
Sebastian, it hasn't taken you long to find the podium in this sport. Did you enjoy it today?
Yeah, for sure. The track was really good here, so I enjoyed it. And since the start, I was feeling quite well with the car. Everything was okay, so I tried to push. Finally, we went into the final. Good fight in the final against always the same guys, Matthias, Petter, Kristoffersen. So, no, it was really enjoyable. I had to push really hard to try to get away from Petter, and finally, when I took the joker, I was still in front. That was nearly a surprise. I was expecting him to beat me, but it's really nice to be on the podium now.
But for people who've seen you on the podium thousands of times in your career, give us an example of what this actually means to you to be on the podium in World Rallycross.
The level here is really high, and more than in some other discipline, because we see always a lot of different cars fighting. Here in the final we had 4 or 5 type of different cars, and that shows that the level is really strong, and so it's you have to be on the limit all the time. The fight is really intense. The adrenaline on the start is amazing. So no, it's nice to finish a weekend like this with some good points for the championship, good results. So that was the main thing, the main goal.
Congratulations, thank you.
Thank you.
Sebastian Loeb, rightly very happy and full of praise for the World Rallycross Championship, which is great to see. Here are the team standings after round 3. EKS staying where they are, along with VW RX Sweden. I think RX Sweden will have maybe closed the gap a tiny bit here, thanks to Heikkinen not having a great weekend and Markman doing really well. Peugeot Hansen moving up ahead of Hoonigan Racing Division, who had a tough weekend, and Team Austria moving up ahead of Augsburg's MSC. All-in-call Munich Motorsport staying in 7th.
Petter, it's clear that this year that the game has been raised a little bit higher.
It was a really good fight, and I tried to go a little bit safe into the first corner. I could have tried on the outside, but for me it's more important to get a good place, in the podium. And then, Loeb came into second, like I expected he should do. And then I took the joker, and I was catching. And then Marklund had the spun in the corner, so I lost 2 seconds there. And over the finish line, it was very close to me and Loeb. But honestly, I tried to push as hard as I could after, and then I overheated the rear tires. But well, podium I'm very, very happy with, and Matthias he was the fastest this weekend, so we have to work.
He was the fastest this weekend. Will you be faster again when we rejoin you in Lydden?
Well, it's a plan. I have some small trick we can do for the next race, because that will be better.
Good luck, thank you.
Thank you.
Solberg happy with 3rd place. Sebastian Loeb surprised to beat Solberg, which I thought was lovely to hear. He really thought, I thought Solberg might get me, and he didn't, which I thought was cool. And I say Loeb really obviously enjoying his time in the sport, which is nice to see when you've done as much as he has. But who can stop this man, Matthias Ekström, onto the top step of the podium for the 2nd time in a row? Could it have been 3 if he hadn't been fired off in the semi-final in Portugal? Sebastian Loeb 2nd on the podium, and Petter Solberg 3rd. 12 FIA World Championships on 1 podium. Trophy to Ekström. Well done, Matthias. Thoroughly deserved.
Absolutely, he's been the man to beat so far this season, hasn't he? And we've got ourselves a fight for the championship, haven't we?
Yeah,
and I think Petter will know that it's going to be tough, but I still absolutely wouldn't rule him out. It's what would you bet that the championship would be between these 3 guys come towards the end of the season?
I'd absolutely love it. It's interesting to hear Petter, isn't it? Straight away, I've got some tricks coming for Lydden. They're not stopping. Matthias isn't stopping. We know Peugeot Sport and Peugeot Hansen won't stop in their development of the 208. So it's not as clear-cut as it was last year. Nobody's running away with this, and getting a result at a weekend now is hard. It's really hard. Sebastian Loeb said you've got to be on the limit all the time.
Absolutely, and it isn't just these 3, is it? The depth of competition has grown hugely over the winter.
Kristoffersen, Loeb mentioned Kristoffersen. Yeah, we just seen Markman up there in the top 3. We know Heikkinen is still learning the EKS S1. We know Hansen can be quick. I'm loving the number of people who can win, and fantastic. Monster Energy Supercharger Award goes to Anton Markman, and a quick hug for the Monster Energy girl too, bless him, isn't it lovely? There we are. All smiles too, that's great for him. He won't have been expecting to win that from the back row. I'm still not quite sure he did it, but fantastic either way. Just pulled a gear and got to the green line first. There we go, champagne for the winner, Matthias Ekström. 2nd place, Sebastian Loeb. And 3rd to Petter Solberg. Fantastic stuff. Brilliant weekend in Belgium. Round 3 of the championship done. How are we a quarter of the way through the season already? And it's only a fortnight until we go to Lydden Hill to carry on. It'll be a 3rd down then. It's looking like it's going to be an absolutely brilliant season of competition. We hope you've enjoyed a weekend in Belgium. Not quite such a hot weekend for Ken Block. Don't know that he'll have enjoyed it quite as much as we have, but the Focus RS continues to be developed, and hopefully they'll be on the pace as the season goes by. Andrew Jordan, good weekend for you. Obviously first time back in the paddock this year. The level's gone up again.
It has. I've missed not being part of it. I love this sport, and it continues to grow and supply us with some fantastic action, doesn't it?
Not going to see you in action, I know, racing at Lydden Hill, which is a great shame this year, but you are going to be there working alongside the EKS team for the weekend.
Yeah, I will be. I'll be there. I've enjoyed working with Matthias over the last few months, and we're working on something for maybe later on in the year. I think it would be criminal not to drive one of these cars at least once this year.
Well, it would be, wouldn't it? Definitely. Andrew Jordan continues his addiction to rallycross. Thanks for joining us this weekend. That was David Genet getting spun round down at the bottom of the hill on the gravel. Plenty of action down into turn 1. Sideways from Solberg. This was on board. Hansen, I think it was, indeed collecting the bollards at the side of the road. Ericsson over the jump. Solberg in typical sideways style, chasing hard to try and catch Matthias Ekström. That was the merge onto the straight. Typical again, Solberg style over the jump, landing on one wheel, look, but he couldn't do enough this weekend. Kristoffersson behind him on the run towards the finish. This was on board with Ekström, so Ekström, look in his mirror, you can just see over on the left-hand side the cars appearing, but he manages to get down to Des Markland from the back row, appears alongside. He probably will have thought that was Kristoffersson, but he never saw anybody in front of him again for the rest of the final. Absolutely outrageous drive, 3 TQs in a row and 2 wins. Can anyone stop Matthias Ekström? Second place was Sebastian Loeb, perhaps he can. Maybe it will be Petter Solberg. Either way, the season is wide open. Cannot wait for the next round. We'll be at Lydden Hill in the UK, the birthplace of rallycross, in just a fortnight's time, and we hope that you will be able to join us then.